Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the God. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Monday, August the 10th, 2026. And welcome to the morning show. Another
Hey,
3 hour adventure with us. Myself, Paul B, Buddy the God. How you feeling over there, buddy?
tired, boss. Tired.
Yeah, it's gonna happen every Monday, but I'm glad we
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah. We made
Yeah,
it. We made
we did.
it. Welcome.
And happy that you made it too. Thanks for joining us this early in the morning. Appreciate you guys getting up early with us on a Monday. It's always good to kind of review the news, have some discussion, talk about it amongst ourselves, see if we can get to some solutions, and also to set the intention for the week. It's kind of like what we do here on a Monday. So we appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that came to the Friday show and sat with us through all the technical difficulties that we had on Friday.
Yeah. It's a
Looks
little
like
rough.
we smooth sailing so far, but fingers crossed that it stays good for the rest of the show. Meantime, between time, we got a lot to get into. Of course, we are talking about a lot of things that you guys are talking about on Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page on Facebook. Man, school decisions. Yeah, Dr. Darnisha Phillips hit us up early this morning and said, please spread the word about a hearing coming up. We'll
Oh
definitely be
yeah.
diving in. Yep,
Oh
yep.
yeah.
Also, a situation happening over in the prisons. There's a water shortage going on over there right now that is pretty crucial, pretty hectic. And we got some information from our correspondent over there, Paul Philman, that we need to talk about a little bit as well. So those are some of the things that's on top of my mind, buddy. What's some things you're fired up about this morning?
Yeah, definitely fired up about this identity prep situation. Kind of is carrying on from my perspective, carrying on from our conversation on Friday that we had with Chris Baby Boy Bowling about the whole lead situation. You know what I
Mm,
mean? These organizations making these decisions, making these marks. Who sets the framework? Who sets the bar for these types of things? So we're definitely going to have to talk about that and more on that situation. Of course, there's some call to action with that, so we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about that, but also looking at what's going on, not just with the prison situation. A big shout out to Paul Philman keeping us on top of that, but also looking at some food things. Of course, I started off this season talking about what is the dream, and one of the big indicators of living the dream is being able to feed yourself. I mean,
yeah,
it's quite a nightmare if you can't feed yourself. And there's some things going on with this farm bill snap we got to talk about. A lot of things going on. Also, there's some movement with this brothers situation. We did also end Friday's episode talking about the streetcar possibly coming to North Omaha, and that brothers situation. If you don't know, brothers, formerly known as brothers, has kind of just been a building in the Farnham area now. But the streetcar, that building in jeopardy. Definitely have to make some conversations. There has been some changes, but yeah, there might be foreshadowing in this event. So
right on.
definitely have to dive into that and more. Of course, as always, if there's nothing that we're talking about that interests you, or we're missing the mark on some things, also feel free to drop those into the chat. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. Of course, this is a conversation with you for the next 3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours we here. So yeah, lock in,
Right.
y'all. Lock in. Definitely join the chat. In the meantime, between time, Paul B,
Yo, yo.
feel like we should get this thing rolling.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get it rolling. First, we're gonna let everybody know about our special guest coming in today as well. We
Hey,
got Keith Station, man, is a deputy over there at the mayor's office. We're gonna be talking to him and talking about what's going on there in the office there. Also, we as a returning guest, Naudia and Noele over from the
mhm.
Douglas County Health Department is gonna come through and talk about some things too. Seeing as we had Chris Baby Boy Bowling on here talking about the lead situation on Friday, that would be has some interesting questions for them today as they join us a little later on in the show. So stay tuned for that and more. First Sky Omaha in the morning,
In the morning.
fresh edition happening now.
All I'll say is this: I talk to all legitimate reporters.
First Sky Omaha.
In the morning. That's right. That's right. Monday, August the 10th. We really appreciate you guys joining us today on this fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Just joining us, I'm Paul B. He's Buddy the Guide, and we got chat chimers. in the chat going off already. Brother McGowan is giving us a morning. Appreciate that.
Hey.
Also, I see who else gave us a morning this morning. Kimber Snipes gives us a good morning. Appreciate you coming
Happy
on
morning.
in. Judy Prinsler says marvelous Monday for all. Right on, right on.
Marvelous indeed.
Pops in the chat says good Monday morning and mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate that. Also, RG gives the morning, y'all. Sue Kessler Hagen says good morning. Marlon Harrison says good morning, First Guy family, and happy motivational Monday. So you lost my voice after yelling all day yesterday. You didn't have to yell. You had a bullhorn.
Hey.
Marlon. When you have a bullhorn, you don't have to yell. Why are you yelling your voice out? RG says Marlon had you had a bullhorn yesterday. It's just what I'm saying. How you yell your voice out with a bullhorn? I mean, you're talking about. It was good running into the three plate crew over there. Although I think y'all was only like on 1.5 plates. What was going on? What's happening?
Trying to lead a barbecue for everybody else.
We're gonna talk about it because For the Love of Barbecue went off yesterday. What an event,
man!
I gotta say, man, everybody who was there had a great time. I didn't really, They said that it was probably twice the turnout as last time, so it was growing. It was really good to see all these folks there and be a part of what was going on there and run into the crew. So we'll be talking about that, man.
Squad,
had a good time.
Squad.
Oh, man, RG and the 3-plate crew right there doing the thing. You gotta let us know what happened to the 3-plate.
Man.
Like I said, I only saw you eat 1.5, so we'll talk about it. Cameron in the chat says Darnisha, excuse me, Dr. Darnisha Phillips, put some respect on her name. Says she focused on fundraising. All the other stuff is noise. That's fam and her faith and works gonna pull her through. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the situation over there.
Oh,
Appreciate that.
Regulators, mountain up.
Marlon Harrison says, thank you all for coming yesterday for the Love of Barbecue back to school bash yesterday. It was good time living alive with one another with the community. Love it. Love it. Appreciate that. Also, Anthony Rogers Wright found something wrong with yesterday. He says, why were the recruiters for the U.S. Empire's imperialist military that kills black people all around the world at Miller Park yesterday? They did have a recruitment desk. They had a recruitment desk there at the For the Love of Barbecue. Yep. Did kind of walk in feeling like that was a little it seemed a little out of place, but hey, you know.
Did they have the Israeli out there yet? No.
Yeah. I don't know. Julie Prinzer says, tried to post Waverly's reporting on the Identity Prep Academy situation. I appreciate that you did that. Several people did over there on Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page. We'll definitely be talking about it. Biko Kwanzaa in the house. He says, good morning, Sky family. So the issue with regards to the all-black girls school won't happen. Peace. Look, people chiming in already. We have to jump into it.
All the way from Philly. There
you go. Kimber says, that's fam. I can call her that. That's what's up. Appreciate that. Yeah, Dr. Darnisha Phillips. Definitely in the news as far as we're concerned. Yeah. So we'll definitely dive into that and a lot more. Of course, we were going to talk a little bit about some community news. Kind of anxious to get in and get started. Not a whole lot of haps going on right now. Of course, we'll talk about what just happened over the weekend. There's a couple things that happened over the weekend. Maha also happened over the weekend. Shout out to Mike coming through, putting it down. And and also of course the For the Love of Barbecue event was the big hot ticket yesterday as well. Also, just want to remind everybody, this is Black August. Shout out to Anthony Rogers Wright and his organization that put these graphics out. Study, fast, train, fight. These are reminders of the tenets of Black August. He also his organization, the Black Alliance for Peace, also put out a toolkit that you can check out and dig into if you want to get deeper into it. I'm gonna put the link to the toolkit there. I think that's the toolkit. Yeah. And I'd highly suggest you check that out and read more about the tenants and also do your own research. Really kind of check out what's going on with Black August. We're going to continue to talk about it throughout the month because it's one of those things that is very close to, like I said, Omaha kind of really talks about this a lot more. And I believe it's because of the fact that we're the birthplace of Malcolm X. And so one of the people that gets celebrated here during Black August is him. And it's a good opportunity to kind of remember and remind yourself about how to work. And it started, what I learned about it this time around started in San Quentin in California. And so I'm hearing a lot of people that are incarcerated that are practicing the tenets right now because they know about it and they're doing something about it. And they're in the tradition of in prison, learning about these things and celebrating and doing the thing. So that's what's up. We also got some news about the prisons coming up that we need to be talking about as well. We'll get into that in pretty soon. But don't forget about the Juneteenth parade that's coming up August 15th. That's in 5 days. It's going down, so definitely get ready for that. And of course, they put out a need for volunteers August 8th, which passed. I guess they already did the pre cleanup on August 8th, but they're looking for people to do the post cleanup on August 15th after the event. So definitely hit up the North 24th BID and see what we got going on there. Appreciate that very much. BFF went down. Benson First Friday also. That's the First Friday in the Village happened. Let us know if you went to this on Friday. I did see a few heads out there that was saying it was a good time and had some really positive things to say about this as well. So let us know if you went to this First Friday in the Village. Love to hear a report back from you on that. And then, of course, coming up this next weekend, now that Maha is passed, the next big event as far as we're concerned is Noma Fest coming through. Shout out to Dana Murray and the work he's doing over there with Noma Fest, Mohini Day, Frank McComb, the Barcades, Mono Neon, Keon Harold, Richie Love. Don't be surprised if we're talking to one of them on Friday, trying to make it happen. So stay tuned for that. And as far as I'm concerned right now, that's what we'll get into that as far as the community events and things are concerned. Let us know if anything's coming up that we need to be putting on the radar and talking about as well. We appreciate that very much. Also, RG in the chat says ABZ responsibilities come before the plates. Said had to keep an eye on all the boys that they're goings and comings with the foot traffic yesterday. Yeah, he was there supervising the survival club kids, which was cool to see all them in their shirts. Yeah, appreciate that. You sitting back there like a guard. You was focused. I saw that. I did see that for sure. Stacey Jeannie in the chat saying good morning, First Sky family and friends. Appreciate you. Kara Warner in the house saying good morning, First Sky Omaha. And also Biko Kwanzaa says we can't expect white folks to use their tax dollars to create an all-black girls' school. I think we can expect that. Matter of fact, we'll talk about it. 7:12 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we starting this thing off with a fire. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into today's thread, buddy. What's going on today?
Amen. Again, the dream teamwork makes the dream work. Still examining what is the dream, what that looks like in various aspects today. Of course, continuing the conversation about how we feed ourselves, looking, as we mentioned earlier, into some snap things, but continuing past that, man, not just how we feed ourselves, how we educate ourselves, and also how do we recorrect ourselves. I'll say that. How do we police ourselves? Also part of the conversation. Of course, we had Brother Leo Lewis on the show. I think that was last week. Was that last week already? Time. So yeah, definitely big shout out to Brother Leo Lewis. Speaking of, standing on guard, looking out for the community, still having that conversation about community policing. And also, Paul, I'm not gonna let you forget, maybe not this episode, but you say you have some more information about that police station that they're building on 72nd. I definitely have to dive into that situation. I think that a public hearing is coming up. So just a side note. But speaking of public hearings, we also definitely have to talk about the situation with identity prep. Of course, there's a call to action for you to not only come out and pull up to the hearing, but there's also some forms that you can fill out, have your comments be known, and just, man, share your thoughts on the situation as Dr. Dernicia Phillips and the whole team, the Jamanista, also a part of that. Shout out to Sister Raquel Henderson, all the women, powerful women that's a part of building this dream, bringing this to fruition, as far as again an all girls school, a middle school, kind of reaching a hurdle with this board of education. So we'll definitely be diving into that, actually spending a lot of conversation on that. I'm kind of going back, going to the present, going to the future. Shout out to Dr. Skinner and all the work that he's done. This is nothing new. So we definitely have to dive into that. Also, nothing new, of course, prison situations here in the state of Nebraska, good old Nebraska, which I would take the time to remind you still has one of the, if not the most overcrowded prison system in the nation, still in a overcrowding emergency. And these things are happening as far as, again, inmates having to use paper plates and flooding and water and plumbing situations. It's a bad situation. We actually have some phone calls to play for you from the inside, man. So again, giving a voice to the voices. Also, speaking of that, I also want to mention, as far as this Black August, you got into that earlier, Paul. A friend of mine down in New Orleans She's working on a playlist. There's an event called NOLA to Angola. It's a bike ride that goes out to Angola State Penitentiary and honors those inmates serving time, in that area. But she's building a playlist of music made by people behind bars. So yeah, when she's done with that, going to share that on Friends of a little Love Supreme tip on that. But we'll be getting into that and more. Of course, as Paul mentioned, we do have our special guests coming through as well as a part of this Teamwork Makes the Dream Work season. We'll be looking at the mayor's team again. Of course, we had some members of his team on last season. Shout out to the mayor himself with the monthly meetup, which we got to start up pretty soon. But he also had Tommy Warren, his chief of staff, on there, and of course Tamara Dwyer, coordinator for the houseless brothers and sisters out there. And of course, we'll be having Brother Keith Station on to see his work in his capacity there with the mayor's office. And then, of course, talking to the good folks over at Douglas County Health about the lead situation. And we also have to continue this conversation from Friday that we had with Chris Baby Boy Bolin about the bureaucracy. And again, these arbitrary numbers. What is it clean? Is it not clean? What is clean according to who? Yeah, we got to talk about that and more throughout the next 3 hours. So hopefully I did it justice. Definitely tune in. As always, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
What's the word?
Don't forget about Raquel Henderson. We actually talked to a lot of people at the mayor's office. Raquel Henderson that came on as well. And also Kara Warner is in the chat and giving us the lineup for the identity prep folks. Kane Rodriguez, Raquel Henderson, Dr. Darnisha Phillips, with some respect. Yeah. Powerful team here that's making the dream work on that in a big way. Appreciate that. Also, Rhea Vincent gives us a good morning. Appreciate you coming in this morning. And Marlon Harrison says, side note, make sure y'all make appointments for y'all local barbershops, hair salons, and nail shops due to it being back to school season. I think he's trying to give us some hints too, I think.
Shots.
We'll get it together. But not a bad idea. Very good idea. Go ahead and make those early because it's going to get packed before this back to school situation is concerned. We'll go ahead and take a quick break and come right back in and jump into the conversation. Appreciate everybody that's joining us today. You're listening to First Guy Omaha in the morning.
My
name is Paul B.
Hey.
But the guy. Stay tuned, y'all. We'll be right back. Welcome back. First Guy Omaha in the morning. Paul B. Buddy to God.
Hey.
Wonder how long it's going to take me to slip up and say First Guy Omaha in the evening like this.
Getting all combobulated and twisted.
For those of you that are just joining us and have been here for a while, but we switch up things every season. This season, we've switched up again as far as our schedule is concerned. Mondays, we do 3 hours, 7 to 10 a.m. We are skipping Wednesday now. We do not do Wednesday at all anymore. And now we do Friday evening instead of morning. So Friday evening from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's the schedule for this season if you guys don't know. But you can do yourself a favor and go to First Guy Omaha at the YouTube page. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. That'll let you know exactly when we go on because those won't be the only times we go on. There's other things that we got going on this season that we're going to break in, check out. So we highly suggest you keep up with us there and also on our website at firstguyomaha.com. Definitely check that out. We're working on updating that more regularly as well. And a lot of good information on there, not just from the stuff that we talk about, but also other information and also what it is we got going on, the schedule. And then don't forget the weekly wrap for anything that changes up each week as well. We do a newsletter called the Weekly Wrap. We send that right to your email inbox on Fridays at 4 p.m. Sign up for that. Yeah, we'll come back and talk about some of that later on as well. Meantime, between time, thanks for everybody that's gotten up with us and giving us a good morning. Donnell Sessions, also Michelle Moreno. Good seeing you yesterday as well. Appreciate that appreciate that every time you guys are able to get up early with us and join us for the show. And
Man,
yeah, thank you. Let's go ahead and jump into the
thank you.
conversation, buddy. What's first on the agenda?
Yeah, of course. Starting off with the wins, going against that whole bleed it leads kind of vibe, and reminding us of the direction we're trying to go. What the dream looks like, especially in this season of teamwork makes the dream work. And man, we've been talking about it a little bit. What I want to give it is due just flowers, as far as, man, for the love of barbecue, man. For the love of barbecue. Everybody, hey, I don't know about y'all, but I love some barbecue. But it's not just about the barbecue. Again, the win is about the community coming together. As Paul mentioned earlier, had a pretty good turnout. Looks like twice as many as last year. So there's growth. As I always say, it's all about progression. So I love to see that. But more importantly, love to see the community coming together for a great cause. Again, it's not just about the plates. It's not just about the biddles. But again, it's about the community and the littles, actually. Again, this is a back to school bash. So of course, there are many resources and things for not just the kiddos, but for families in general. And just shout out to all the organizations a part of this. Mostly, I do want to give her some love to the Rib Shack, man. I've seen the Rib Shack. They were also catering over the summer. I went to the breast cancer fashion show, and they were out there catering, just giving good love, good energy throughout the food. And that's just something that I'm coming to see and know about the Rib Shack, as far as they're giving back to the community. So big shout out to the Rib Shack and everybody involved with this. Again, this was a back to school event, but it was for the community. Again, uh, for the love of barbecue's mission. This is from their website, spreading love through barbecue, using barbecue to bridge the gaps and bring communities together to serve those in need in the community, feeding the homeless community, raising community awareness, inspiring, serving, providing mentorship, and educating our community. Of course, as we talked about earlier, 3-plate crew out there. Maybe they're like 1.5 plate, as Paul say, over the weekend. But yeah, man, showing love and just living alive with one another. That's really what it's about. Talk about this dream. And it really is just our ability to come together, provide the needs, pool our resources. I mean, if that's not the point of being in, the bands of society with other people, I don't really know what is. So again, big shout out to everybody that was a part of that, the volunteers, the organizers, even the participants, people that just pulled up. And I do also want to give a shout out to Marlon Harrison, again, content creator camp alumni, kind of getting his man on the street on, again, representing, making us proud, as always, doing what he's doing. But again, this is all the win, the community coming together for a great positive purpose, man. So big shout out to those who showed up, showed out, supported. So win,
Yeah,
yo.
yeah, it was a good time. I definitely felt the love. I didn't quite know what kind of event it was. I hadn't been before,
Mhm.
but it was the kind of event where a lot of people showed up, a lot of different barbecue spots too, and ones that I didn't know before. Also, Big Mama's was out there too, and it was a giveaway. People were giving away food. You got to
Come on,
try
man.
all the different all the different restaurants that are out doing barbecue right now. And it was dope. William King was out there, 95.7. The boss was on the mic. And I got to give a special shout out to Houston Alexander that was on the ones and twos. He reminded me about how DJ set the vibe, bro. He
Come on,
set
man.
the vibe in that spot. He looked around, he saw the mixed audience. He's got to be one of the best DJs out there to DJ the mixed audiences. So you got kids that know certain songs, you got adults. He knows which ones that are universal that everybody gets down to. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play a little clip right here. Marlon,
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, Marlon, but I got to do it. I got to do it.
Get it! Get it, Marlon, get it!
Shout out to Miles Harrison cutting his rug out there.
Hey.
Man, I was filming a lot of stuff out there, and I saw that, and I was like, that's the epitome of what we seeing here today. That's that right there. In one little short clip was the feeling of the mood yesterday. So appreciate Marlon. I recognize something about the three plate crew. You guys are 1.5 plates when you're working. Marlon was out there with a bullhorn. He was out there directing traffic, doing some things. And you heard RG already. RG was out there with the Survival Club kids. Lots of boys out there, so they was out there working and having a good time, and it was a good time. So we appreciate everybody who was getting it. Marlon says I was a good time. He says they gave me a bullhorn and whistle and told me to go. Told me to go. Told me to crazy. He did. He too. He was out there with that mug. I still don't know how you lost your voice because on the bullhorn, but you
Right,
did have a
right.
bullhorn out there, and he was doing some work. It was dope. It was good to see Smoking Doja out there too. He was on the outside serving hot dogs and things like that. It was a really, really important community event. The reason why we spend this much time on it because that's how important it was to
Man.
especially the North Omaha community. A very important event. Empowerment Network. Willie Barney was out there. They gave away awards to people who have been helping Untamed, Smoking Doja, Wangs and Things. Everybody, there was a lot of folks out there. Charles Drew had a spot out there. Shout
Come
out
on,
to
man.
Island Chill. Shawnee was out there with Island Chill. Shout out to U-Turn. Shout out to Black Agenda Alliance that was there. You talking about safe spaces. We talked to Leo last week about having safe events, but there is no safe events without Brother Kasim there with his crew as well. As part of that 4-pronged situation we were talking about. It was actually only a 3-pronged situation because there was no police there yesterday.
Really? See,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need it when the rest of the prongs, 3 prongs, that's all you need. 3 legs, that's all you need to make a table for the table. Man, that's all you need.
So shout out to NOCP as well. They had a big hand in what was going on. It was just an all around good time, and shout out to all the backpack giveaways. I didn't realize that there were probably hundreds of backpacks and supplies out there that they just gave away to the folks that need them. So again, it was a day of peace. It was a back to school situation. It was a situation that really highlighted black business, especially in the restaurant industry, and putting Omaha on the map for the ribs again. I mean, there was a lot to what happened on this event. So if you were there, let us know how you felt. Let us know what you took away from it as well. And again, shout out to the Rib Shack who originated all this and been doing it for 4 years now.
Man,
and is there to continue to make it happen. So
the Rib Shack.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's one thing to have a business. It's another thing to really engage the community with that business. That is the real key. It's the live alive with one another situation, like Marlon said. And
Come on, man.
Can't stress
It's
it
the
enough.
dream. It's the dream. Little black boy joy, you know what I'm saying? The community coming together in all its facets, all its glory, and really, really doing its thing, man. If we can do that every day, if we just do more of that, then we'll be off on a good foot. So big shout out to everybody that's a part of that. And yeah, thank you for your input on that, Paul. And I'm glad you got able to, step out and you know what I'm saying? Make an appearance. Happy for
Very rare appearance. It was one of them things that just happened to I had the time. I can make it this time. So.
Man, gotta do more of that. So yeah, man, big shout out. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the wins. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. And yeah, I can't wait to get into the rest of the stuff. If you're just joining us, we're anticipating our special guest coming in. Brother Keith Station is going to be in from the mayor's office. And also a little bit later on in the show, Naudia and Noele will be coming back. If you remember, we had them on last season from the Douglas County Health Department and talking a little bit about the other side of the lead situation. A lot of lead that's in the home, lead that's in the window seals, and so on and so forth. Even though we have parts of the community that are doing the remediation in the yards, we also have other parts of the community that are taking care of things inside the home. So we'll talk to them a little bit more too about this lead situation on the heels of our conversation with Chris Baby Boy Bowling last week, last Friday. Friday.
Yeah,
Right?
Friday.
Yep.
Time.
Yeah. So we'll be talking to them as well. In the meantime, between time, we'll go ahead and continue on with the conversation. 7:29 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, buddy, what's next on the agenda?
Yeah, man, as we prepare for our guests, knocking out the next story and a little bit of a win, if you want to call it that, with the situation we have been looking closely at as far as the Brothers situation. Of course, there's been some back and forth. If you remember, Brothers, a long time lounge, kind of a staple in the indie hip hop underground and just Midtown community. Shout out to all my Farnham folks. But there's a gaping hole under the building now, and of course, there's been some question as to where that came from and where's it going to go. What's going to happen with this hole? Who's responsible for repairing it? Is it the business owners who've been, owning the building or at least that unit for quite some time, or is it the city who's again neck deep, knee deep, however deep in this construction as far as the streetcar goes? And there was some back and forth whether or not the streetcar construction had something to do with the collapse, or was it the deteriorating infrastructure and pipes and water in the area, or just the building itself being dilapidated. But now it is coming out that apparently Mayor Ewing has decided, again on Friday, Mayor Ewing announced a rather important change that the city of Omaha would pay the cost of either repairing or demolishing the building. Ewing was careful to say this was not an admission of responsibility, which again is very interesting in itself, saying we're not admitting that the city is involved in any way, but did say cause the cause of the collapse remains undetermined, and should an outside party, including a streetcar contractor, ultimately be found responsible, the city would seek reimbursement later. But again, moving the thing forward as far as who's going to do what, because that can, leave a situation in limbo for quite some time as far as who's going to do something. And of course, with this streetcar situation moving forward, and not just the streetcar, but as mentioned in this post, some of the contracts related to the streetcar, some of the businesses surrounding the corridor going up and down Farnham Street, possibly, having an impact on this decision. But Paul, I know, again, you're kind of close to some of the folks that frequent and even own Brothers. What say you on this? Is this a win?
I will say it is a win, yes. And
Okay.
if you remember last week, there was a lot of posts going around because the first iteration of this was the office that it wasn't the mayor yet, but it was the city was coming out saying that this is going to be a problem for the owners. The owners had to handle this. They came up with some kind of plan. They had a whole meeting about it, a whole press conference and everything, and never really contacted the owners, and everybody was feeling like that was very unfair. Shout out to former Senator Megan Hunt that put a post out about that as well. She, everybody kind of knows the owners, and they're part of the community, and this was, they spoke out like, hey, this is messed up. So it was interesting to me that a week or two later they changed up on a lot of that. There's other parts of this story that we're not really getting into right now that's interesting too. There was a private donor, so some of the money came from a somewhere in order to be done as well. But I do think that the mayor responds to the feedback that the people give. This is different from our previous mayor, that I felt like when people spoke up, there wasn't a whole lot of people paying attention to that too much. It felt like a little bit. Feels like people are paying attention in the mayor's office, and it gets to him, and he'll respond. So not only did he respond, but he responded in a way that came back positive for the owners, which everybody in town cares about in a big way. So it's already a messed up situation, and then for it to be a situation where the owners are being held responsible and have to pay. These are people that have not run that bar for the past couple of years now. It was the first bar that closed down when they started changing Blackstone. So it's not like the bar was up and running, but they still own the property, and that meant that they were probably going to have to do something about it. So the fact that mayor is coming back and saying the city's going to do something about it, definite win. Appreciate it. Definitely wish that it would have been a situation where they could have involved the owners a little bit more than they did. But that's kind of where I'm coming from with this. I'm just kind of, without me kind of digging into the articles and pulling out too many facts. I'm just thinking about the conversations that were had over there on Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page, and also that's been out on Facebook and in Instagram and everywhere else from other members of the community that had some comments on this. And hearing from the owners, seeing their posts as well. They didn't feel like it was fair at all. So I was happy to see the change up.
Yeah, it's still a lot, for me that's interesting about this story. Beyond just how this, which I do want to get into the anonymous donors and some of the money that is being poured into this, because follow the money. It is very interesting that aspect. But just the bigger implications. What is this the streetcar impact on local businesses, on the city at large? Of course, on Friday we talked about the proposal. I think it's been reported that there's federal dollars that have now been secured. for research. I think more studies into the viability. Again, there's no necessarily any track being laid right now, but there are conversations and money being directed towards the possibility of that streetcar coming north. And what does that mean? What does that mean? Again, the big feeling in this, I'm tying this also. Shout out to Marlon Harrison for posting this, posing more so this question on Friends of First Sky Omaha as far as gentrification. And there's some, some people commenting and some conversation about gentrification in the community, and gentrification, and specifically on the north side, and maybe this streetcar playing a role in that. I do feel like there is an element of this streetcar catering and paving the way for your multi-million-dollar corporations to come to Omaha. We've seen Mutual of Omaha make some moves already, and what does that mean for the Googles and the Amazons, or not necessarily the data centers, but some of their office spaces, or other companies. Of course, we've seen Nebraska move into fine tech and as far as financial technology. And now, with all this AI stuff going on, what's really coming to this area as far as, the businesses being enticed to the Omaha area? And what does that mean for the smaller players? Not just the brothers, but we talked about several other restaurants and businesses along this strip that have, felt the brunt of it as far as reduced traffic, reduced access to their businesses. Is this situation how the city of Omaha treating the brother situation? Is that any indication of how this is going to play out for the small businesses in these areas?
It's a good question. Something to definitely consider because there is construction going on in North Omaha just as much as any other place in the city. People think that it's only happening because of this streetcar situation, but somebody made a decision to do all the construction all at the same time all over the city. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. And everywhere you go, I don't care if it's a side street, I don't care what's going on, you run into some construction, and businesses are already suffering because of that. One thing I will say though, I remember us reporting years ago about all the infrastructure changes that was happening. We were feeling like they were gearing up for gentrification of the area because they were all in the ground, changing out pipes and all kinds of things like that. So I don't think we're gonna have the same trouble if there is some of that kind of construction over on the north side, because all that kind of stuff has been done. The stuff in Farnham and the stuff along the streetcar line all had to be dug out and infrastructure and repiped and everything in order to before they can even put the streetcar stuff down. So I feel like it's going to hit us a little bit differently because they did take care of that on our side of town kind of first. But it'd be interesting to see. I like where you're going with that. What is the indication of how the city's going to act when something like this comes up, and how it's going to affect the owners or not is interesting.
Yeah. Big time. For those owners and business proprietors who have been impacted by the streetcar situation, specifically going back to the anonymous donor situation, there is apparently, and this has been announced by the streetcar project lead, Steve Jensen, who's the interim director for the city streetcar project, explained that the work is being done on and underneath the building to prevent further collapse. So there could be other issues with that situation that is being looked at. And then also there is a Nebraska Enterprise Fund to help businesses impacted by streetcar construction who can apply for relief. Apparently, according to Jensen, there have been several $1,000s already distributed. About 27 different $10,000 grants were distributed in phase one. Also, there is another phase with about 38 $50,000 forgivable loans, and another additional 24 $10,000 grants were also approved. So there's money going out. I am curious if any of those businesses received any of that money. And if anybody has applied for it. Again, it's the Nebraska Enterprise Fund, which is set to apparently help some of the businesses impacted by this project.
I wonder if that's state funds, city funds.
Good question. It's good. Again, it kind of says some money coming from anonymous donors had contributed to the fund to help with this situation. So, why be anonymous? Who is it? How much? A lot of questions still. A lot of questions.
We'll keep looking at it. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody's comments on this as well. I also appreciate RG in the chat says not just the brothers, but several others. Buddy coming with the bars this morning.
Hey, it's easy. It's easy.
Shout out to Clarice Jackson is coming in giving us a good morning. Appreciate you. Anthony Rogers Rice says technical phrase is void, not whole. Yeah, for real, bro. You said up to their neck, up to their knees. It's over
Man,
their head if you step in that void for real.
man, big time, big time, big time.
I also want to give a shout out to Michelle Moreno, who's in watching us this morning. Says RG says, "Hey man, Michelle and Aunt came through yesterday, slid through yesterday too.
Okay,
I got to see them as well. Yeah, I got to see the whole fam yesterday, man. It was
cool.
real special, real special. So I appreciate it. I'm gonna keep on referencing and going back to this event because
Man,
I want to hear from you guys too. For the Love of Barbecue was a major event as far as our community is concerned. It was a success. It was great. It was great to see families out there supporting each other and to do it all over food, living alive with one another was great. And plus, this is the one I got to go to, so we just gonna keep
man.
talking about it.
Also, there's the Miller Park aspect of it. There's a lot of conversation about some of the changes down at Miller Park. Yeah, how y'all feeling? Did it feel like it was open to everybody? Does it feel like it's a private park closed off? Let me know what y'all think. Y'all was out there. What's it
Yep,
like?
yep. It is 7:40 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're going to be diving into the situation with Dr. Darnisha Phillips. Put some respect on her name. So stay tuned for that. There is more conversation and story to be told there.
Man,
And I know that you guys have a lot to say about that as well. So I appreciate that very much. Also, Marlon Harrison in the chat real quick says, I don't see the new construction and new projects in North Omaha as gentrification. I see it more as North Omaha being brought up to code and bringing new life to the area.
man, I
Appreciate your
appreciate that.
perspective. Yeah,
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
your
yeah,
perspective. Definitely.
yeah.
Let's
And keep
take
them coming, y'all.
Yeah, please do, please do. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All B, Buddy to God.
Hey.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All B, Buddy to God, coming at you on a Monday, and feeling pretty good about it today. Monday is usually a hard day to get up and get rolling, but if you can, then nothing but good things come for the rest of the week for you to be able to get up, get your stuff going, get your head together, figure out what you're doing for the week, set some intention, all that good stuff. Hopefully it helps you get your week together. It definitely helps me. Biko Kwanzaa in the chat says the streetcar issue won't be a good idea because here in Philadelphia, the subject in the weather just doesn't run well. Plus, the snow will cause big traffic problems. Think about the snow when it comes to the streetcar. Yeah,
I mean that was one of the main criticisms. Like, are these streetcars going to be heated? You know what I mean? Like, what will it be like in the winter, in the harsh months?
Good question. RG says, I live a block away from the park, and I can say Logier for folks out there every day tending to the grounds. Okay,
come on, man.
Some good stuff there. He says, notice a lot of the neighborhood families having get-togethers out there every weekend too, like we used to do back in the day at Carter Lake.
Come on, man. Again, my family had its family reunion out there in Miller Park, and again, that's a park that I grew up in. Like, one of my first hustles was going around the golf course at Miller Park and selling golf balls, standing at the gate selling golf balls for 50 cents a pop so I can get candy money.
Man,
I go way back in Miller Park. So again, I'm happy with some of the changes that I've seen there, keeping it clean. You know, they have people out there tending to the grounds, like you said. Kudos.
There you go. He said, so it doesn't rock that exclusive feel yet. There you go.
We'll see.
He says, Marlon Harrison says, I feel like there's a lot of people in our community who want North Omaha to stay stagnant, which is really because North Omaha needs to grow with homes, businesses, and new people.
The new people is interesting. The
That
new
is
people is
interesting.
interesting.
10 to Pat. Remember that name for a while back. Appreciate you coming back. People coming into the area who do not live in the area and making major changes to the area only do incentives to is gentrification or the bridging bring new life into the area would be constant. Okay. Um, I kind of have changed my way of speaking on that because if they're talking, we talking about just bringing new life. It depends on who's bringing the life. Because you can gentrify your own neighborhood, then it's not a bad word because
Mm-hmm.
you're doing your own thing, bringing your own situation up to code. If anybody that's coming in from the outside trying to do that for their own gain, I'm calling colonization
Hey,
myself.
there you go.
So there you go. Tony Johnson in the chat is saying the way Omaha taxes and state funding operates with guarantees that all of these changes is not going to increase property taxes due to increased value of property because of these changes. Will North Omaha, as we know it, be able to afford this new North Omaha being created? Good question. Very good question. Anthony Rogers Rice says that's the question, Tony, because when those property taxes jump up, that's when the displacement picks up. And that's textbook. That's fact. That's you can catch that everywhere in the country. So
Priced out.
it is what it is. Well, appreciate you guys jumping in on this conversation and having such great things to say about it,
Man.
and continuing the conversation. We will absolutely do that. It is 7:46 right now, if you believe in the concept of time, and we do have a special guest waiting in the wings, and we'll go ahead and see if we can bring him in. Let's see what we got going on here. I'm not seeing the image real quick, so we'll give him just a second here, see if we can get that going. But okay, man, look. On it, ready. Ladies and gentlemen, Brother Keith Station in the house. Hey.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, brother. How you doing?
Doing well. Good to see y'all. Y'all can hear me okay?
Loud
Yes,
and
sir.
clear. Loud and clear. Thanks for coming through this morning. How you doing?
I'm well. Gentlemen, thank you for the kind invitation, Paul. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it spending the whole week with you, the week before last, in that training.
Man, shout out to POC Collective. That was a real bomb training for real. In a dynamic group of people we were in there with. That's another event that felt like fam and felt like, man, the future of Omaha, something else. In a big way.
Absolutely. It was a special vibration in there. I was glad to join in and take part, and took away quite a few things.
Well, brother, I've been meaning to have you on for years now. I don't know why we just haven't been able to get to you, but I'm glad you're finally here, and I'm glad it's in the context of us having better access to the mayor's office the way we do. We've talked to a few people. Shout out to Raquel Henderson, Tamara Dwyer. We had Brother Thomas Warren on. Of course, we do the monthly meetup with the mayor. So it's inevitable that we're gonna have you on at this stage as well, because we're kind of trying to talk to everybody in the office. This season is teamwork makes the dream work, and you guys got a powerful team going on over there.
For sure.
Making some things happen. So do us a favor, let us know who you are and what your role is over there. For those of us don't know.
Right on. Well, thank you for saying that. We have a great team, man, and I work with some awesome people, and I've been in the mayor's office for about 6 years. First, let me go far back, and I'll be quick, so I don't go too long. But I'm from Omaha, born and raised, North Omaha native. I'm a Minnelusa, Fontenelle, Monroe Central kid, University of Nebraska, Boomerang, out of town and back here. Been back in Omaha for about 15 years. And, I used to work in sports, and the trajectory of my career went to sports and then nonprofit leadership, and then went to, came into government. So ever since I've been back in Omaha, I've been, in the community, and just every career step one thing has been a springboard to the next. And so it's an honor to serve in the way I get to. I started about 6 years ago. The previous mayor hired me to be the city's chief diversity officer. So as you probably recall, 2020 was a different time, right? A lot was going on, nationally and locally. And so I came into the city to shepherd the city's DEI initiatives, and proud of the work we did there. I think we made a difference. I think we opened up some conversations about race and about history. And when you work for, a municipality, work for a city government, what we learned is that you cannot do, quote unquote DEI work without looking at the foundation of that, which is race, is baked into how cities operate and how communities are created. So we had to unpack that. And I did that for about 5 years. And then the election happened and the world changed a bit. And then the election of the current president made it so that we had to reimagine how we do DEI work, because you can't do it in the way that we had. Right. And so it was an honor for excuse me, for Mayor Ewing to invite me to stay on board. I was really honored and excited to continue in his administration and rework my role a bit, but still be in community, still working to make the city more accessible and how we do business and where we show up. You know, my first and most important role is to advise the mayor on issues related to all the areas I get to show up. You know, I get to also represent the city on some boards and commissions related to affordable housing and workforce development and K through 12, and just all these spaces that invite community members to connect to the city. And then places where the city should have a seat at the table so we can just understand what people want, need, what people are saying, how we prioritize our budgeting, how we invite people to the process. You know, I don't know if you guys went to the Maha Festival this weekend, and I took my daughter, my 15-year-old daughter, and we really wanted to see Killer Mike. Hey. And you know, he spoke, you know, in between his songs, he spoke to, you know, it's always about the people, and that resonated with me. I was looking at Grace and just kind of seeing how she took it in, but she said, you know, or he said, it's about the people all the time. You know, people need to tell government what you need. People need to show up. It's about the people. And that, you know, struck me because, you know, these times we're in, and I'll wrap up here, these times we're in just require us to stay engaged, right? Like there are things that invite us to disengage or to be apathetic or to say, you know, that's happening over there, I can't make a difference, or, you know, they're not listening to us anyway, and you disengage. And that's the opposite of what we should do. You know, we should show up, we should dig in deeper, we should figure out, we should raise our hand and say, how can I get involved, and then make space. So I get to just be a force multiplier to doing that, to helping people do that. I get to be an interpreter, if you will, to what is being said and what needs to be heard in both directions, from the mayor to community and vice versa. So I get to show up in this real versatile way. And it's an honor, man. It's a real honor to be here. I get a front row seat to see what's happening, and I get to sometimes help shape how we view public policy and you know, advise the mayor along the way. So I love what I get to do.
Love it.
Really appreciate that overview. I'm kind of curious. So, what is the actual title? Because again, like as you mentioned, you served in several capacities, whether it's on boards or committees, whether it's as a DEI practitioner, or even as chief of staff for a few moments. So again, what is your actual position right now?
So my title is Deputy Chief of Staff for External Affairs. Okay. And it was intentionally meant to broaden my role. And my previous role was Deputy Chief of Staff for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And when I started, about 70% of my work was internal and about 30% of it was external. And over the course of that 5-year span, it sort of shifted to being more external work and a little bit less internal focus. And so I try to balance that out. So my title is Deputy Chief of Staff for External Affairs, which allows me to, you know, stand in for the mayor sometimes. It allows me to, again, work in all those spaces that help to advance the mayor's objectives. You know, Mayor Ewing's agenda is what my job is to serve, and make sure that he knows and make sure his voice is, again, all these spaces where he can't physically be. A lot of people say Mayor Ewing is everywhere, and he is. You've seen him in all these places. Sometimes it seems like he's in 2 places at once. But even with all the places that he gets to show up at, he can't be at everything. And so he has a great team of folks that, you know, get deployed sometimes in his stead. It's an honor for me to be one of those people. So that's the title. It's Deputy Chief of Staff, External Affairs.
So let me ask you real quick, in your position, when you say that you're able to be at certain places, not just representing the mayor, but also sitting at those tables, understanding what's going on from that perspective too. We know that there is a liaison to the community, Sister Raquel Henderson. I wonder how do you guys work together? What does that look like?
Yeah, good question. First, Raquel is amazing. I don't have to say it. She's a star, and is an asset to the city and to the mayor's office. I think it was one of the smartest things the mayor could do was hire Raquel Henderson. And so Raquel is she has a counterpart. So we have a North Omaha and a South Omaha community liaison is what their main focus is. And my coworker Jennifer Acosta is the South Omaha liaison. so Raquel's responsibility is to again be a voice to really center North Omaha to make sure that the mayor connects in an authentic way. And the mayor is a North Omaha native, so he is inclined in that way. But Raquel gets to help us figure out where we can make a really deep impact and finds creative ways to activate the mayor's agenda, for example, with youth and in the areas of reentry and with justice involved individuals. And Raquel has she has a really far reach. And and so while she's working in those ways really deeply in community, my job is to work with development partnerships, serve on some of the boards that deal with affordable housing, workforce development, K-12, business ethics, public health. I get to work with Charles Drew, and I served on that board with the mayor until he got elected. I get to work on the regional planning advisory council with MAPA to make sure that the 6-county region is working together for our economic development objectives. So I get to be in all these places to make sure that the city is connected, to make sure that we have the perspective and the feedback, slightly different from what Raquel and Jennifer do. But sometimes we show up at the same places in the same way and strengthen the mayor's reach, by being together, by making sure we hear the same things, by showing up, in solidarity and unified in all parts of the community. So you've heard the mayor talk about One Omaha, right? So while we have folks that focus on certain, geographic portions of the city, the mayor's vision is to make sure that we are, one city, one Omaha, mindful of the cultural, nuance that exists in North and South Omaha in different places, right? So he's not trying to make it so homogenous that we don't appreciate and respect the culture that is, vast and really diverse in the city. We segregate it, that's just a fact, around the city. But we can be unified. We can move in solidarity and in support of the mayor's vision to have one community that can thrive.
Okay, I appreciate that. I have a couple things that I want to get to, but before I get to those, I want to hand over to Buddy and start your thread on that one. Just keep in mind, I got a couple things I want to get with him on before we get out. We just trying to plan ahead, so I appreciate you being here.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Buddy.
Yeah, definitely mind spinning on a few things. One thing jumping out, you have a unique position as someone who, served under both Stothert and Mayor Ewing. And I am kind of curious as far as your perspective, what is one of the biggest differences or things that jump out to you serving under Mayor Ewing?
Sure. Well, it might seem the comparison and the contrast might seem obvious, but I don't spend a lot of time comparing. I appreciate the time I had with the previous mayor. She gave me a special leadership platform that allowed me to do a lot of good in this community. And I appreciate the fact that she didn't just call me when it was time to discuss DEI stuff, right? She wasn't like, okay, it's time to talk about DEI. Where's Keith? She allowed me to to be involved in a lot of different things. But Mayor Ewing came in and said it was a non-negotiable for us to show up with accountability, with transparency, with integrity. And that was his invitation for the folks that stayed on his staff. He wants us to show up. He wants us to be with people. He wants us to listen to people. He has this really authentic enthusiasm that he shows up with, and he's accessible, and he wants to get to yes, and he wants us to be in all the places. And that's a great thing. He has this really smart, leadership approach that says, the smartest person in the room is the room, right? Is what can we learn from where it's being done elsewhere, and so we don't have to reinvent the wheel on certain things. How do we harness the unique, greatness of Omaha? Omaha is a great place, but we have a lot of work to do still, right? I think you can hold space for both. This is an awesome community with a heritage and a history of some amazing people, but we also still have some persistent issues that we have to address, some of the disparities that exist. And so Mayor Ewing has just invited people to really get at those issues. He's super competitive. He wants us to be competitive. He wants to win. And you see that every day in every conversation, in every press conference, in every meeting. He's holding us accountable. He's asking us questions. He wants to arrive at decisions with counsel from his staff. So our job, he told us early on, he said, I'm going to trust you. So when you tell me something, I'm going to assume that you've done your diligence, that you've talked to people, that you've done research, that you've done the reading, you've talked to subject matter experts. So when you advise me on things, I'm going to assume that you've done that. And so that's a awesome responsibility to have for us, to make sure that we are up on the issues, make sure we're talking to folks, make sure that we don't show up like we are more important than the community, right? Like that's the thing too, is he reminds us that, and again, this isn't in a contrast to the previous mayor, but he just reminds us how important stewardship is. Like we talked about stewardship the other week, Paul. Like we are supposed to steward this moment and this platform that we have. It's not about, I'm just occupying this chair for a period of time, and so it's not about Keith. And so I try to remember that. I try to remind my coworkers that, they remind me of that. And so we just have to do the most good we can in this moment. You have a 4-year span to try to get a lot of things done, and hopefully, Mayor Ewing says 8 years. That's what he was talking about that on day one, is 8 years. So, but we have this finite amount of time to get things done. So you have to move with urgency. You have to move with sincerity, accountability, and be willing to be pushed a little bit.
Man, appreciate that. And the more we kind of learn about Mayor Ewing's team, I do feel like, there is a intention and a preparation to meet that moment. And I do want to speak more about that moment. Of course, you had, acknowledge and mention the obvious differences between Mayor Ewing and Mayor Stauffer. And I appreciate how you framed your answer. I didn't really ask the question as to draw a comparison between the two, just, getting your perspective as far as your close experience. But, really talking about that difference, we have the first Black mayor in Omaha's history. And as somebody who works closely in DEI, as you mentioned, seeing the changes of nationally, how, DEI is viewed. What is your perspective about, what this moment means and the work that is being done as far as Omaha's first Black mayor, and having, not only first Black mayor, but Black, chief of staff, Black deputy chief of staff, and some of the just representation that we're not used to in Omaha. What does that mean to you?
A good question. It's history every day. We're making history, and the way I approach life even is that, we stand on shoulders of folks that came before us. And when you get to trailblaze and sort of pioneer some ways, that's even a more awesome, I think, responsibility. But to watch Mayor Ewing, he's not new to elected office. As everybody knows, he was the Douglas County treasurer for a long time, and he worked in law enforcement before that. But for him to be the first Black mayor in the city of Omaha and to make history like that is huge. And I don't take it for granted. Every single day, I feel like we're making history. And he shows up, proud of that, and he doesn't shy away from that discussion. And again, sometimes two things can be true. You can hold space and feel the weight of that history. He can also remember and be mindful that he is still the mayor, and the mayor for the whole city. And everything he does is not through the lens of I'm the first Black mayor. Now, he can't separate his identity. He walks through this earth as a Black man.
Right.
And so he doesn't shy away from that. And so he is proud of that history. I mean, we there's a lot of history, in the city with the current composition of staff, from our fire chief to, as you mentioned, Chief Warren is the mayor's chief of staff. Who's served as a chief of police and served as the first Black chief of staff in the previous administration, and to be in this administration. Thomas H. Warren Sr. was a godsend to the city, when he came from the Urban League of Nebraska. So it's great to have Chief on board, and just the diversity. We are diverse in all these different ways. We're diverse in age, in ethnic identity, and race, and political ideology, in all the ways. It's a really, really diverse environment. So it's some pretty awesome people that work at the city. There's 3,000 plus employees that work at the city, and the demographics don't exactly reflect the citywide population parity. It's skewed a little bit toward not reflecting the diversity of the city. We're aware of that, and that's something that we've always been mindful of, and try to be smart and strategic about making sure that the city is made up of people who reflect the community that we're serving. That's important. So history, every single day, every single move, we are making history. And even in the previous administration, but that was historic in its own way. But every single day is history around here, and that makes it so there's not a lot of boring ho-hum days around here.
I bet.
Man, definitely seems like you're having fun in that office. Shout out to the Javanista getting down.
Yes, sir.
Raquel be showing you guys be getting down in there. I just want to let the people know it's 8:05 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're now in the second hour of First Guy Omaha in the morning. And if you're just joining us, we are here with Brother Keith Station, Deputy Chief of Staff for the Mayor's Office. A lot of times when you ask when the mayor is supposed to be somewhere, he might be in there for him. So that's how you'll see him around town as well. I didn't. First of all, I want to acknowledge the question that you asked earlier, buddy, and the answer that you gave, Brother Station, about the mayor trusting his team have done the due diligence and the research. And this season is called Teamwork Makes the Dream Work. And so I just wanted to point out about how important it is to when you're leading a team, how important it is to be able to trust your team and put that mandate on them and pick the right team that you know is going to get the work done, so you don't have to think about it. Buddy and I lead our team, and that's one of the things we talk about all the time. Like, man, can we just like let you handle it and not have to think about it because you know you're gonna get it straight? Sign of a good leader when a person can do that, and sign of a good team when he can feel he can go about his business knowing that they'll get it right. So just wanted to reiterate that during this Teamwork Makes the Dream Work season, some of the how to be a team, and also I wanted to get to a couple other things. So I'm gonna. This is not a hot seat show. This is not a show where I'm gonna put you on the spot. If you don't feel like you want to say something or can't say something, no problem. Not trying to pull anything out. We did have a conversation. I wanted to think in this role that you're in, and you talked about the access and the places. The first thing that made me think of your role was when me and you had the conversation at that event last week about the police and fire station that's happening over on 72nd. We were calling Freedom Corner, and I kind of let you know. First of all, before I get into that, I want to acknowledge this conversation I had with him, buddy, because I didn't even tell you about this, but I had this conversation, Brother Station. He's watched us before. He gave us some compliments on the way that we try to educate and try to inform and have some nuanced conversations about things, and also how we outreach and get feedback. And the feedback we were getting about that police station on 72nd and Dodge was that it was bad. And people in the community they were not feeling that. We got this big beautiful library across the street, and now right across the street we're gonna have this police station. And you brought out a couple things to me because of your position and what it is that you know that made me go, let me rethink that and let me get back to some of that nuanced conversation. What really is this thing? And again, if you can't say anything about it, cool. But I definitely wanted. I see that as a benefit of your position to be in places where you can see things differently, and that's the thing that stands out to me right now. Is that something you can talk about?
Sure, I'll say what I can. The seat did get a little bit warmer, but I'm warmed up now. I appreciate that. Well, first, my disclaimer is that I am, while I work for the city, I'm also a member of this community, and I care about the city, and I also am mindful and I understand in these times what law enforcement means. Right, law enforcement is necessary, but we have to take a look. We have had for a while now to take a look at how policing and law enforcement is administered in communities, especially communities that look like Omaha. And so I'm proud that we are doing that. I'm proud that Omaha is looked at as a model for how police community relationships can incrementally get better and continue to get better. It's not a place you arrive at, but it's a process. But anyway, so recently that announcement about the new police fire, the public safety headquarters at the Crossroads area was made. And of course, people were saying, it doesn't make sense, or why is there so much money being put toward this? And there's a few things, and I don't want to sound like I'm defending it. I just want to offer some context to that decision. One, it was a long time coming. There's been a lot of research and study done to what should happen to the current police and fire headquarters that are downtown near 15th. And you have failing infrastructure. So the building, you have to look at how the quality of that building, and you have to get ahead of that. You don't wait until it is no longer inhabitable until you find a new place. And there were several places around town looked at as a possible place to be relocated. So the Crossroads development that's happening, there'll be a lot of things there. That Target will stay there, but there's some other mixed use things coming to that area. But it was decided that police fire headquarters could be there. Now it won't be like a police station. They won't, dispatch calls, and police and fire won't leave from that station. It'll be primarily administrative and leadership people housed at that location. It also won't be like right at the intersection of 72nd and Dodge. It'll be kind of back to the northwest portion of that, the footprint of that development, and so it won't be featured right there. I will say that I know that it wasn't placed there to push back against how that center of the city is known. It's not supposed to be this is where people gather. This is where people speak in resistance. This is where people protest. So let's put cops there. It wasn't contemplated in that way. But also, I think that we have to be mindful of the optics of those things. Sometimes that's another thing that we should do and make sure we do with the city is sometimes unintended consequences or the perception of things. You have to understand how things are going to land. That's part of my job, is to make sure the mayor is advised on how this decision might look to people. How do we make sure we are transparent and we communicate to folks so that they know what something is and what it isn't. But I even looked at some stuff, the Cop City situation in the greater Atlanta area. Yep. You have to listen to that and study how the people reacted to this, law enforcement center being placed on the outskirts of Atlanta, and you can learn from that, right? So, I know that we studied and tried to understand what people will say when it feels like the police presence is growing in community, right? And how do you speak to that and address that mindfully, understanding the history, but also realizing there's a need to make sure we have quality facilities and services. So it'll free up the current police headquarters to be redeveloped or be something else. I believe the fire station downtown will stay there and maybe be a conjoined police fire sort of station downtown, but the police will leave that headquarters and be housed at the Crossroads. So I think that the go ahead.
I appreciate you explaining that. One of the things that stood out to me about it was that we were calling that corner Freedom Corner. That's where a lot of the protests had happened and things like that. And it felt like the optics of it being right there on the corner was a lot. And the thing that stood out to me was where it was going to be placed. So it seemed like it going to be placed kind of back behind the situation, more towards like the gas side of the Crossroads situation. So not right there on the corner was part of that.
Exactly.
Also smaller in size than I imagined it being as well. You kind of drew me a little diagram, a little smaller in size. So there was a couple things that stood out that you said that made me go, okay, let's read. Let me listen to the nuance of this and come back, and maybe we'll get more information on what this is actually going to be, and we can relay that information.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that also, and I'm mindful of the time here, but also there's we noted that center needs to be a place where people want to come, right? Like the design of the city should invite people to come there and want to hang out at some of the new developments and shop and look at the housing opportunities there. And so if there's a police station featured right there, that's not necessarily what you want to have as the most attractive venue there. So we're mindful of that. And so it'll be tucked over there, but it won't be the center focus area of that particular intersection.
That's interesting. I definitely thought, just from diagrams, I think it looked like some of the renderings that were reported, it looked like it was going to be a corner situation. So it definitely looked like it would be there on 72nd and Dodge, right there at Central. So I'm glad you pointed that out. But I did want to also ask about that. I'm glad you brought that up, Paul, as far as the community aspect, because due to the reports, I think even Chief Schmatter had mentioned that is some intention with the design as far as community involvement with the police station. Of course, we've been talking to Brother Leo Lewis about, community policing and some of the conversations that are happening with OPD. But from your perspective, the equity of it all, this could be opportunity to make sure policing in Omaha is more equitable. Are there conversations about, this design and what that might look like in the future with this facility? What is that?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. And thank you for bringing that up. And let me join the chorus in saying that we are fortunate to have Police Chief Todd Schmatter, who leads in the way he does, right? He's mindful of these times. He's mindful of the importance of police community relationships. A lot of people would argue that he is leading the pace in this country on how you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that we were able to arrive at a place where we're going to have this new headquarters with this police chief is a win for the city, because it will be done so with mindfully and strategically, and to the benefit of the city. Again, it's not, I think that I won't speak for police, but I think they won't apologize for making sure that they have nice and suitable facilities, but it's not meant to be overbearing or to be put in that place without being accessible or without thinking about what people want and need and what people have said. I can guarantee you that all that input has been taken into consideration.
One more thing about that before we get off that subject there. You mentioned that it was something that was planned and was put there, and another argument that we had, another thing that seemed like community didn't appreciate, was that there was no community input there. Anthony Rogers right in the chat is saying the people are not going to give the city 155 million of our money for that. No way. This is kind of the atmosphere that we're involved. We see a lot of because of that feeling. Plus, it didn't feel like anybody really reached out to the community to say, is this what we want in that Crossroads area? The times that we talked about Crossroads stuff, it seemed like they were listening to different ideas that we had about what we wanted to have at Crossroads, and that was never in the conversation. And then he also said this a little earlier too, when it comes to getting more involved. Does Mr. Sessions have thoughts on the proposed budget and why more community members weren't involved in developing it? That specific question, but also just the overall question about how much the community is involved in the conversations about what goes on with these kinds of things, the budget, what's going to be in certain places and stuff like that. From your perspective, do you see that the community has input, or is there some work there that needs to be done?
I would say yes, and again, the process for the police station it's been a years long process, and so a lot of study has gone into that. Overall, it's a private development, at that intersection. So the developer gets to determine, what they are going to invest in building. The city does have some say in what can go there, but it's a private development with the exception of that particular police and fire headquarters there. So I can't say that public input was not taken into consideration for that. I don't know if that was the determining factor, but I know that public input is always taken into consideration when things are done, even if it's not always apparent. I do know that for sure. And also the brother's comment about the budget. The budget process for the city, we have a calendar year budget, January 1 to December 31, and it starts pretty early. It starts like in February for the following year. And in fact, and I'm sure you're going to share this, but tomorrow is the public hearing. August 11th is the public hearing for the 2027 budget. So, and that's at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall and the Legislative Chamber. People can come and speak and on the proposed budget that you can see at cityofomaha.org. You can find the budget and see that it's a $1.7 billion budget. And that's the all fund budget. That's the revenue and the expenses. And you can come let your voice be heard. And there are some processes leading up to tomorrow where people can weigh in, but tomorrow is a chance to speak to the city council. The mayor a couple of weeks ago presented the budget to the city council. They have time to look at it. The public has time to review it. And then tomorrow opinions can be shared before it gets ratified later on in the month or perhaps next month. So there is time for the public to have input. There is time for the public to see it. Can we do a better job of making sure people understand the budget? I think so. The budget is a 500 or 400 something page document right now. It's online and easily accessible with the links, but there's a lot to it. And it's also, I think I always share with people, what's one of the most informative pieces of documentation that exists is City of Omaha's budget, because it tells you who's in what department. It tells you where your tax dollars go. It tells you who are the largest employers. It tells you all these different aspects of how the city operates. and the some of the ordinances we adhere to in terms of how we can spend money and where money is allocated and what percentage goes to what department and who's working in which department. It's a super important document. I encourage everyone to go visit that document, the City of Omaha budget.
Yeah, we know a
and
brother that reads that thing like the Bible, page after page.
Yeah. And also, so if you can't come to the public hearing, it's also streaming live on the city's website or on YouTube tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. or you can be in the legislative chamber. So I would encourage everyone to check that out.
And just to be clear, that police station is on that budget, correct? The 2027 budget.
Yes, I believe that because it won't be completed by next year. So some of the funds that will need to be spent to create it will be in the 2027 budget. Yes. I don't know that the full amount of it is. I'm not sure that, but I know that some of the expenses related to the development of that, those facilities will be in next year's budget.
Right. So if anybody wanted to comment, tomorrow will be the appropriate to comment on that.
Tomorrow is, and you can submit a comment written. You can show up and voice your opinion, or you can submit a written statement or information to the city clerk's office. And again, all that information is easily accessible. Just a quick search of City of Omaha budget, City of Omaha mayor's office, City of Omaha city clerk, and you'll find that pretty quickly.
Take a look.
There you go.
Brother, we are already 5 minutes past our agreed upon time with you. So I hope that we're not cutting into anything with you.
Thank you
now. So we'll wrap this up. But I just wanted to wrap it up on a different tone here, just to hear from you about what it is that you're excited about, what it is that you got that is a win as far as you're concerned, and things that are working, things that you're looking forward to, even personally. I know there's always things shifting and moving at the mayor's office. Anything that you want to tell us about that you're excited about?
I'm excited to be here. I'd love to be a third host if y'all will have me back sometime.
Okay.
Feature me on a Monday or a Friday or something, man.
It works.
I'd love to come back. So
don't threaten us. So we need a break. Don't threaten us. You be on here.
I'll be happy to sit in, but I don't. It's not easy. I don't take it lightly. I don't take the work y'all do lightly. There's so much happening. There's so many opportunities to celebrate the good. There's so many opportunities to meet the more difficult things. The mayor came up with this Year of the Neighbor program that sounds like a goodwill program, but it really is about amplifying the good, about reminding people what's happening, about having a chance to nominate folks who don't get shine often, to highlight some of the things that are happening, to focus on, every month has a different focus. Like, for example, like November coming up, like one of the things I get to do is work with the refugee community, refugees, immigrants, former refugees, new Americans. And so November will be a month focused on, for example, celebrating and engaging with people from different cultures and making sure you show up as a good neighbor in that way. So all these different ways, entrepreneurs, young folks, your city council district, this really brilliant initiative is awesome. In 2027 will be a different focus, right? I think that's an opportunity for people to weigh in. Tell the mayor what you like 2027's focus to be in terms of a year of something that is really an intensive look at how we can amplify things or show up or make an impact with the people's input, right? That's important, and the mayor's listening. I'm excited about moving into the fall, the school year. My kids are getting ready to go back to school, thank goodness. But the mayor, speaking of Raquel has been instrumental in leading this mayor's youth initiative. She put together this awesome youth council that has students from every school, not just in the metro, from every school district. And so we'll have a chance to hear from students, from young folks, right? The further we can go upstream, I think the better we are, and the more impactful and deeper the mayor's legacy can be. He was open to reestablishing that mayor's youth council. So going into the school year, I'm excited for our students to get back to it and to hear their voices. There's a picture there when it was kicked off. Yeah, so really, really thoughtful, great students and great partnerships. I'm excited about, again, the library work. We got some numbers, I think, from the first a few months that the Central Library has been open.
Oh yeah.
I think there's been 200,000 visitors. I think
Man.
is what was shared
Seems
last
like more
Monday.
than that.
Yeah, it seems like it, right? Because it's always full, but a significant number of people are showing up. There's some major investments happening in parks. That's something that is is super important to cities like ours, is investing in public spaces and parks. That's plugs into our ability to attract and retain folks. The data say that people are moving to cities that are investing in public spaces and have parks where people can gather and go to music festivals and things like that happen in Miller Park, the music and the things that happen at the riverfront, and all 250 plus parks we have in the city. So the parks work is exciting. You'll hear more about that, more investment there and opportunities for the public to engage and give input into what these parks and trails should look like. So there's just so much. I would just advise everybody stay tuned in, download the app, follow the updates that are shared on the mayor's website in the press area. There's always announcements. Watch the city council meetings. Stay plugged into that. I know sometimes it seems procedural and it seems like it can be long, but it's so informative. That's how you stay in the know about what's happening. Read those city council minutes and agendas. Look at the documentation. Watch the replay. If you want to watch it on fast forward, you can watch it at 1.5 speed or double time so that you can see as much of it as possible. And we'll continue. You have my word that we'll continue to make sure that the city is accessible to people, right? Because it's always not intuitive, and the burden is on us to make sure people know how to access the information. We don't get to say, well, you should have gone to the website, or the information is there, or it's incumbent upon us to make sure people have access to information and can reach the city, and that their voices are heard, whether it's positive or whether it's in protest or whether it is constructive criticism. Our responsibility is to make sure people can offer that. I appreciate you, brothers, for being a platform for doing that too. Thank you for making sure that the voice of the city is shared.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Keith Station, the third host.
Hey.
You heard it. So let it be written. So let it be done.
Hey, yeah. Definitely bring it back.
Yeah, appreciate you, and we'll definitely have you back because we definitely got to get into some of the challenges that's going on in the mayor's office too. So
yes, sir.
not just one-sided talking. I will, if you would do us a favor, go back into the chat a little later on, maybe, and answer some of the questions that were directed to you, or chat if you can hit him. You got a good email address to give the people for them to reach out to you?
Yes, sir. My email is keith.station@cityofomaha.org. Keith.station.
There you go. Keeping it simple. And just to throw it out there too, didn't really get into it, but I definitely would love to talk to you about the opportunity zones here coming up too. What does that mean? What does that look like for the future of the city as well? So there's a lot more to dive into with you, but thank you for taking the time this morning.
Right on. And I point to somebody who's a subject matter expert on the opportunity zones, but yeah,
let us know.
That's important. Yeah, we'll get any information that's useful at this time.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good, bro. We'll talk about it.
Right
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Peace. All right. Appreciate everybody's comments, questions. Didn't get to all of them, but I appreciate you guys all showing respect to the guests, and hopefully we'll get the questions answered as well. We'll definitely have him back and continue on some of the conversation with him. I can see that that's going to be something that we do on a regular basis here as well. So yeah, man. Yeah. We'll take a quick break and a little breather, and we'll come back and dive into a couple things that he had to say, and then back to some of the stories for today. And then, of course, we're anticipating our other special guests as they're coming in shortly. Naudia and Noele from the Douglas County Health Department is coming back to give us some updates on some things. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we'll be right back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning. My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the God.
Hey.
Be right back, yo. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. All B, buddy to God. Appreciate you guys, man. Pops in the chat said, wow, informative and gracious, great interview. Yeah, man. Definitely appreciate that. I appreciate the comments. Anthony Rogers Wright, Tony Johnson, of course, always coming with it. Appreciate it. Hopefully we can connect you guys in order for you to ask him some of these questions directly or save them till we bring him back, which is going to be sooner than later. I can see.
Man.
Yep. Kanai Rodriguez, am I saying your first name right? I hope I am. I apologize, but thanks for joining us. She says tomorrow is an important day for Identity Preparatory Academy. Yep, we're going to get into this story coming up, and we need our community to show up. If Identity Prep has impacted you, your family, or your community, we encourage you to attend in person or virtually and speak before the vote, sharing your experience and why this school matters can have a real impact. Every voice matters. Thank you for standing with us and helping advocate for new opportunities for the girls of North Omaha. I believe you're one of the originators of this school, right? Did I just see your name from
believe
Sarah
so.
Warner, who was naming off the we know Raquel Henderson, and we know of course we know Dr. Darnisha Phillips. So good to get to meet you as well. Glad that we're meeting everybody behind the Preparatory Academy, Identity Preparatory Academy, which we are fully behind in a big way. We need to go ahead and get to that story. It is 8:30 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. But just for people that don't know, there was a vote. There was something that happened.
I got it. Let's go ahead. Let's do it right. Let's dive into it because it's actually the perfect transition. I appreciate Brother Keith Station. He actually says some things that really hits close to home for me and is reflective or points directly to this story. Again, he mentioned his role as DEI and just the difficulty of separating when you get into policy work and race and just dealing with that mixture, again, talking about policy work and race and how they interact and kind of direct each other and the fight specifically for so-called black people in this country to have policy, to write policy, to right the ship, if you will, in a racist country. But yet here we are, even in this year, the Lord's year of 2026, still dealing with this fight. And just to set it up for those who don't know, this is fresh off of Friday's vote from the Nebraska. This is at the state level. The Board of Education delayed a vote on a 6-2 vote on Friday to postpone its decision whether or not to again verify and acknowledge, push through Dr. Darnisha Phillips in the Identity Prep school. Again, board member Deb Neary objected to the delay, arguing that the school meets all of the board's official criteria for approval, calling the timing of the members' concerns disrespectful as the school is set to aim to open August 19th. So again, it's crunch hour, the final hour before this beautiful endeavor is set to start, is set to open up. And here we are having specifically Nebraska Board of Education member Kirk Penner of Aurora, Nebraska, saying that there's concerns about abolitionist framework that he points to posted on the school's website. Again, shout out to Deb Neary, who's been vocal about this. And she says, by saying we're going to postpone the vote, we as a board are saying we're going to put different criteria on the school catering to African-American children than we put on any other school we have ever approved. That doesn't sound legal. It sounds disrespectful. It sounds racist. And I can't believe we're even considering this. Again, Identity Preparatory Academy, of course, caters to young women, middle school, 4th to 8th grade, and particularly African-American young women. Again, in objection, board member Kirk Penner asked to postpone the vote due to concerns with wording that was temporarily posted on the school's website, including abolitionist framework and liberatory practices. Apparently, in this year of 2026, we have an issue with abolition and liberty. Apparently. Again, he cited
the abolition of slavery from back. You talking about
abolition. Yes, right. Of slavery. He cited specifically a book called "We Want to Do More Than Survive: Abolitionist Teaching in the Pursuit of Educational Freedom" by Benita L. Love as the root of his worries, calling it the Bible for abolitionist trainings. And we can just stop there, man. Shout out to Nebraska Examiner for this post. You want to read more on, the vote and why it's being postponed. Again, shout out to was it Kanai in the chat. Again, tomorrow will be the opportunity to speak up. This is where they postpone the vote, so it will be happening tomorrow. But I mean, this is just I'll just post it like this. If your concern is abolitionists, like what's the opposite? Would you rather them teach a slaver perspective? I just don't get it. I don't get it. Paul, what say you?
Well, this is Dr. Darnisha Phillips. We had her on the show. She talked all about this Identity Preparatory Academy, this girls' school that she put together, and along with a few others that are in the chat. And we knew that she was going to come up against some pushback because of where we are, and this is it. And it's kind of crazy, not unexpected. But sometimes here's kind of what I'm thinking too. Like how you when people got objections to certain things, it kind of sheds more light on it. Guess which book I'm about to go get next.
All right. Okay, I see you. First Sky Book Club. Yeah.
First Sky Book Club. Right. So yeah, I think there's nothing. I mean, we already kind of know what's going on. There's nothing to be said. Pops says, has he ever been asked if he really read the book?
No,
most likely no.
He didn't.
Paraphrasing Penner from RG, he says, "Yeah, man, we want to maintain the mentality of bondage."
Pretty much.
Yeah, kind of in the grand scheme of this current administration and what's going on in our society. I'm not surprised that somebody in Omaha, Nebraska, decided that this was the fight.
Slaver. Abolitionist framework is the issue. Like that's the issue. Abolishing slavery. That's the issue in 2026.
Shout out Deb Neary, who's there on the inside of all this, saying what she said. I believe postponement was racist, disrespectful, may expose the state board to legal repercussions. Litigate. Let's think about it. And really spoke out. She says they do not see the racism in their actions and said at the meeting that they were disappointed I even mentioned racism as a reason. She named some names. Then she says, please also reach out to support Sherry Hutchinson for Board of Education, for State Board of Education, who is running for my seat. So this is somebody who's going to replace Deb Neary. Deb Neary is on the board saying this to the people. Like, what are you doing? So there's some allies there on the board that shout out to Deb Neary for that. And we got to get to the hearing. So the state board meeting notice is the next thing that came up here. Was the State Board of Education is providing 2 opportunities for public comment in the next few weeks, August 11th at 1 p.m. and Friday, September 4th at 9 p.m. This is going to be floating around here. And that's really what it is. It's just time for the people to speak up for the people's project here. And,
I feel a little differently. It sounds like you kind of trying to whittle it down. Like, well, that's just this. You even mentioned that there's not much to say. I feel like there's a lot to say about this situation.
Okay.
And this is kind of par for the course. Like, this is the problem. This is the problem with this country. This is the problem. Going back to what Brother Station said, trying to get policy that solves problems, dealing with the ugly history of racism in this country is an issue. You get these conversations of reverse racism, and anytime you're because let's acknowledge the fact that so-called black people have been dehumanized and marginalized in this community by policy. So it's impossible to not acknowledge race and solve that problem. You can't create policy that acknowledges and corrects the ugly history of racism and not acknowledge race. But that is the conversation. Anytime you acknowledge race, then it's like, oh, reverse racism. And you're like, come on, man, this is ridiculous. So I actually took the opportunity this morning to read the statute that's Title 14 in the Nebraska State Board of Education, which is the policy that dictates and directs how specifically private schools are confirmed or not confirmed, how they're pushed through and given their accreditation. And one, I did not see specifically where it said that the policy could not, or school curriculum, specifically the social media not social media, social studies aspect of the curriculum was being pointed per the reports as a central issue of it. And I'm not seeing where the direction that identity prep is trying to go is completely forbid. What I am seeing is language within the law, the state law, how the policy is written, that is completely like it's antithetical to what identity prep exists to do. It is required by state law that schools' curriculum have to portray basically the lie, his story. If the history doesn't make the students proud to be an American and doesn't evoke feelings of patriotism and talk about all the great things that is in the law. And we know that's the problem, because there's things in this country that we can't be proud of. That doesn't make you patriotic. And again, it is in the policy. If you look at the State Board of Education policy, it says that the social studies curriculum has to paint this beautiful American, proud American. That is bullshit. Excuse me. That is a lie. And it is in the policy to perpetuate this lie, to push this lie. That's the problem. You can't solve a problem within the context that is creating the problem. Like, it's the policy itself that has to change.
There you go. Is him having the ammunition because of the policy to
pretty much
say what he says?
Pretty much, because the policy says that the curriculum has to make you have these wonderful feelings about it. You have to feel proud to be an American from from the curriculum. Like that is what the curriculum has to push. Patriotism and pride of the American government. And you can't talk about some of the crimes that they did in Vietnam, because that causes us to question, are we really anything that causes us to question if we're as great as we say we are is against the law, is against policy.
I mean, we've had to endure people trying to act like slavery was not so bad, was a choice. There's a lot. I'm gonna jump in the chat. Angel Stark's in the chat. Good morning. Says she already ordered it. Yep, this is the next book for me. Most definitely appreciate that. Also, Tony Johnson is saying he's notorious for these types of things. So this is not the first time. Anthony Rogers Rice says, let's be clear, all they heard was abolish, as in abolish police. Tony Johnson says, not right, but somebody should have been prepared and ready for this. Yep, I can feel that. And to that point, I feel like I said, we had Dr. Darnisha Phillips on the show, and we did address, what kind of pushback you think you're gonna get. I don't know how much what she had prepared for and what you can prepare for, but things are in motion now. This is the reason why I jumped to that, because things are in motion. Lots of emails, lots of phone calls and stuff going around asking for support, trying to get people to support. Definitely speak up tomorrow at the city council meeting, and all these things. So the mobilizing the people to push back. I don't need to go through. I don't need to spend too much time on why this dude would push back. The pushback was going to come from somewhere, and it was going to be as ridiculous as it is everywhere. Next move. What's happening? Where can we speak up? Where can we fight that? Marlon Harrison says, shout out to everyone in our community for supporting Identity Prep Academy. I've seen people from both public and private schools supporting Identity Prep Academy. Kimber says, I also thought I read where he took issue with the word liberty. So think about the Pledge of Allegiance: liberty and justice for all. All doesn't mean all.
Right.
RG says, their obsession with us in equal parts amusing, alarming, can't have nothing. Anthony Rogers Rice says, the abolition of domestic slavery is the great object of desire in those colonies. Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Paine called the slave trade an unequal commodity and compared slave traders to violent robbers. He was an abolitionist. Heather Williams in the chat says trying to whitewash history because it makes certain people uncomfortable. Kimber says, Buddy, does it say when that policy was instituted? We did put the link of that policy in. I don't know if I didn't see it in there when I looked.
Yeah, I don't see it.
But we put the link there so you can check it out there as well. Abolition is a major element of U.S. history and still is. Anthony Rogers right. Also, Marlon Harrison says if that's the case, so many of my teachers would be fired because they kept it real. Me and my classmates. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody's comment on that. As you can see, everybody's pretty fired up about it, and we will get to it. Stick around. We do have a third hour after the 9 o'clock hour. We can dive deep into this even more. And have some, and really get to the solutions part. That's the part I really want to get to. Where are the meetings at? Who's going to show up here? Let's all raise our hands and figure out where we're going to speak up at, how we're going to spread the word, and so on and so forth. But right now it's 8:45 if you believe in the concept of time, and we have some special guests that are waiting in the wings that we're going to get to as soon as we come back from the break, and we will talk to them a little bit more about what's going on in our communities when it comes to the environment. This is something that we have been an ongoing conversation, and we're happy that they're back to give us some information. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning. My name is Paul B. He's Buddy to God. Stay tuned, y'all. We'll be right back. Just had to play a little bit of Marlon, man, so we can lighten the mood a little bit. Shout out to Marlon Harrison, and shout out to the For the Love of Barbecue event that happened last weekend. We appreciate everybody that showed up and showed out when it comes to that. And hopefully, we can smell the coffee beans and come back in. I know we just came off of the Buddy Blast, but we have two new guests, Sister Naudia and Sister Noele. We appreciate you guys joining us again. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
How are you guys doing today?
We are good. It's Monday.
Yeah.
Like Monday, sure.
That's great.
Yeah. We appreciate that. Don't know how much of the show you were seeing before you came on, but definitely people were fired up about what's going on. Do you know much about the Identity Prep Academy? Have you guys heard of that school?
I had not.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't either.
Yeah, a group of people put together this all-girls school, black girls school, and it's under a little bit of fire. They're trying to postpone the vote on it and so on. Everybody's done a lot to try to raise some funds and raise money and try to make sure that this school happens, and they've donated a lot of time, spaces, even all kinds of things. So this is what we're going through right now, and it's interesting because when I listen to the curriculum a little bit, I do hear that they are also about teaching about environment to these young girls and stuff like that too, and it kind of makes me think about then I can see a class going into your office and talking to you guys about what's going on and your role of what goes on in the city. So just for people who didn't see you guys when you came on last time, do me a favor, introduce yourselves and let us know your role in the Douglas County Health Department.
Sure. So my name is Naudia and I'm the supervisor for the lead poisoning prevention program here at the health department. And I've been here for about 11 years, a little over 11 years.
11 years already. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, flew by.
How you doing, Miss Smith?
Good, good. I'm Noelle. I'm a community health educator for our lead poisoning program. Been here about 4.5 years.
You guys put in some time over there.
Yeah, it's flying by. It's flying by.
Yes, it just sucks you up, this work. It brings you in and you stay and you continue fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
Make things
Yes,
better.
yes. And I actually that's kind of the big part of, the context of today's conversation is how you're fighting that good fight and some of the hurdles that you have to go through. I don't know if you caught our episode on Friday, but we had Chris Bowling from Flatwater Free Press come through, and he's done some reporting on the efforts as far as the remediation, the test levels, how the EPA is kind of monitoring the situation, what they deem clean versus some of those things. So if you don't mind, Paul, dive right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as Noel, I want to ask you directly. Again, as you mentioned, you work with community education. Um, are you seeing some of those things as far as educating the levels and the actual threat of lead in the soil versus what the EPA is deeming safe or not safe versus what lead actually how it impacts the body?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think obviously like a big part of my job is making sure people are aware. Those are like our outreach objectives. It's increasing awareness, increasing screening, and increasing our community appointments with people. So I think that there is a lot of confusion out there still. I
Hmm.
mean, I've been here for 4.5 years, and I think you still run into people, when we're at outreach events who maybe had no idea that we were even in a Superfund site. Maybe they had no idea where lead even comes from. Or you get a lot of people who think, oh, that doesn't affect me. That doesn't apply to me. Those are just certain groups of people, certain areas, and really anyone can be impacted by lead.
Mhm.
So I think our work definitely continues. I think we're doing a really good job, but it still continues to make sure people are aware.
Now we've talked to another person, our brother Steven Zivney, and he's from the
Mhm.
city, and he talks more about lead remediation in the yards and stuff like that too. When you guys were here last, you guys told us a little bit more about lead that might be in the house, paint chips. You surprised me by saying there's lead, there's traces of lead in certain spices. Had me looking at my spice cabinet like, wait a minute, hold on, we'll see what's happening. So we know that you guys deal with those things on different levels as well. So not exactly some of the direct correlation to Chris Bowling and his work with that because he was kind of in the yards. But how did his reporting affect your office and how it is that you guys are doing your work? Maybe I can hear from Nadia on that one. How did it affect things overall over there?
Sure. So I think his reporting has definitely raised awareness and brought this issue to the forefront. Maybe people, as Noel said, weren't as aware of it, and so it's definitely given us some publicity, which is a good thing
Mhm.
in terms of raising awareness. So we get more phone calls. Maybe people are asking more of those questions. They're more engaged online. We do have an advertising campaign that we run on an annual basis, and so there is definitely more engagement from that. And when we post on our social media, we say, you may have heard stuff on the news about
Mm.
this. And here is what we are doing at the health department. So definitely promoting the services that we have and trying to get into those homes and speaking to residents in the community, answering their questions, telling them about blood lead testing. Because, a child doesn't look, there's no look of lead being lead poisoned.
Mhm.
And so that's why it's so important that testing takes place. And so we've used it as an opportunity to push the work forward that we are doing and the services that we have available here.
Yes, and you do the blood testing for the kids, right? You guys, okay, and
Sure.
what's the numbers there? How many people are you able to test like in a year?
So in a year, we have different partnerships, and so our testing is a roughly equates to about 25% of all testing that's done in Douglas County.
Mm,
Clinician testing, so the testing that's done in clinics, have declined since the pandemic. And
Mm.
so we've been trying everything under the sun to increase those numbers, so that we have more children that are getting tested. And so in terms of what testing looks like in our community, we do have a ways to go. That's why we launched the lead poisoning prevention dashboard that we have up, so people can see what lead poisoning looks like in their community, what testing looks like in their community, what those sources that you just highlighted, like the spices and lead-based paint and soil, what the exposure looks like in our community. So you have a realistic picture of what's actually happening based on what we have seen through our work. And so I could share a link to the dashboard in the chat if you want, so you can kind of see what we've been doing. Oh, you're doing that. Thank you, Noelle. She's always on top of things, which is great. But yeah, if we don't know what the data looks like or what people are telling us or getting into those homes, then we don't have a clear picture of what lead poisoning looks like, in our community.
Yeah. Okay. This is I just pulled this off of the internet. Is this what the dashboard looks like here?
Yes. This is what the dashboard looks like.
Cool. I'm going to put this link in the chat right now for you guys to check that out for the up-to-date information for sure. Yeah. This looks pretty comprehensive. Number of children tested for lead poisoning by zip code. Nice.
Okay. And you can see that the dip that I talked about from 2019 to 2020 when the pandemic hit in terms of testing. Our testing numbers have decreased over time. But so have cases. But the thing is, if you're not testing children, we can't identify those cases. Yeah, we're really imploring parents to go to their doctors, talk to their clinicians. If they can't afford to get testing done, they can come to our clinic on Tuesday mornings. We have testing that's available from 8:30 to 11:30 or noon. And they can schedule an appointment with us and come out to do that.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Cool. Noelle, what's the one of the worst cases that you've seen as far as, I know you guys do a lot of home visits and you guys go out and test folks and stuff like that. I'd like to get a grasp on. I don't think I know anybody who had high levels of lead in their system that affected them. But what's since that's what you see, what stands out in your mind as far as how bad it can get?
Yeah, what comes to mind in the past year, it wasn't one of my cases, but having a very high lead level. So anything above a 3.5 is considered lead poisoning. So when you get tested, it's micrograms per deciliter in the blood. So anything above 3.5 is lead poisoning. So one child that we had like a 45, and that is like a more emergency situation that they have to go to the hospital and have chelation or basically heavy metal detoxing done. And when that happens, those are really urgent situations for us because that child can't be released to the home until we get in there and look at what's going on, because we don't want them to get exposed.
Right.
So anytime that happens, obviously the risks for the side effects are so high. So we do have to act really urgently. And that usually means finding out where exactly that lead exposure is coming from. So luckily, that doesn't happen often. We maybe have a case or two a year, but knowing what lead does, even at just very small levels in the blood, when you get to that really high level, that can be really scary about what the effects are for a child. We're talking about developmental delays, speech delays, trouble in school, behavioral issues. It can be really debilitating.
Yeah. And that's kind of one of the major concerns is, how does that kind of play out in other environments? Is lead poisoning, can that be something that adds to, like you said, behavioral issues and adds to a child getting criminal involved as far as the justice system? And how all those things wrap up is very interesting. And I am kind of curious from our conversation with Chris on Friday. He did mention that one of the things that jumped out to him from conversations that he's having with families is that confusion, just whether or not they, even after their land has been remediated, and finding out that there still might be dangerous levels in their land or on their windowsills. Are you kind of running into that as well? Just families just being confused as whether or not the environment is safe or not, even after it has been tested.
Naudia,
yes. And so we do get questions from families, and when we say there's no safe level of lead, that's been proven.
Right.
There's enough research that's shown this. And so a lot of what we tell people is the EPA, when they do cleanups, they set standards. There are these standards that are based on whatever information they have available at that time. And things change with more research and so forth. We know there is no safe level of lead. Cleanup is a very expensive thing. It's about how much money is going to be spent on it. And so it's a lot. There is, because of the monetary aspect of it, there is only so much they can do, and they set these standards based on whatever they can do. What we go into homes and we tell people is that this is the cleanup at that time. It doesn't mean that it's safe. In order to protect your families, this is what you need to do. Cleaning is a huge part of helping to avoid lead exposure. And so if you're able to clean properly, cleaning up those windowsills, because a lot of what we see when we go into homes, a majority of the cases are because of lead-based paint in older homes. Majority of the cases, about 74-75% of our cases, are due to exposure from lead-based paint in homes. So we give a lot of education about cleaning, leaving shoes at the door, cleaning those windowsills if you're going to open the windows so that doesn't come into the home. And so a lot of what Noele does, a lot of what our program staff does, is education around how we can properly clean and live safely with the exposures that we do have, if you're not able to completely get rid of them, as you would want to. So for instance, with the soil, we say use raised beds if you can, plant in pots, plant grass, make sure there's ground cover so that soil isn't being exposed to your child. There's no bare soil that's being exposed or accessible. And so ensuring that we have those barriers in place will then help to decrease exposure.
You know what I find interesting when we were talking to Chris Bowling Friday, we were talking about the origin of where the lead came from, these smelting plants that they had back in the day. And for some reason, I had pictured in my mind a smelting plant. I don't know what I thought. It just like oozes out liquid lead into the ground or something. I didn't know what it did. And he mentioned that it's the smokestacks. It basically it was coming out in smoke and then covering the whole area and then falling to the ground, and that's why you got lead in the ground. And that put a different spin in my head about what that meant. It meant it hit the ground, it hit the building, it hit the air vents. It did all these things in order to expose people. And so that makes more sense to me when I think about how the work that you guys in particular are doing when it comes to that, not just lead chips in old paint and lead in old paint, but also lead in old systems and air systems and things that probably got into people's lungs a long time ago and can still be exposed and still be suffering the effects of that thing from the past. Before they swapped out the new air conditioner in that house or whatever the deal. So there are just so many areas that it could come from, and that you guys have to be looking out for. And that testing, I guess, that makes that testing all that more important. It has to be regular testing all the time with everybody in order to kind of figure that out. If somebody has lead in their blood, and I'm not speaking of the example that Noele gave, because 45 is really high, but if they have 4 or 5 in their blood, what is there something that can be done short from that drawing out the metal procedure that you were talking about? What can be done when people find lead in their blood from the testing?
Yeah, so a lot of it is education about nutrition. So making sure that child's having a healthy diet, high in vitamin C, iron, and calcium, because lead is like calcium. They have the same kind of chemical makeup. And so lead competes with calcium for bone absorption. Same thing with iron. So sometimes we find children that are anemic also are lead poisoned, and that's kind of like an indicator. You look at the both of them. And so diet plays a huge part. And then of course, trying to decrease that exposure. So painting over those areas if you're able to, putting some barrier in place so that child no longer has access to that exposure. Sometimes, an exposure that's 45 that Noele just mentioned or more can be less damaging than an exposure that's 4 over a longer period of time. So let's say I'm living in a house and, there's a leaded porch and my child plays on that porch all the time. In the summer, children are home, they're playing outside, they want to be outside,
Right.
and they're on that porch. They can have that low level for a longer period of time, and then that does way more damage to the brain than having a one time I ate this paint chip and my level was so high, but it got out of my blood fast because we were able to flush it out of the system.
Interesting.
So we are really concerned with those low levels. And if you look at the dashboard that you shared earlier, we do have the categories of exposure there, and we do have a lot of children that are at those lower lead levels. So like the 3.5 to 4.9 lead levels, you can see those went into effect in 2020 when the CDC lowered their blood lead reference value. And so we do still have quite a lot of children that are hovering within this area that need to have their parents need to have education and understand those exposures and understand that this detrimental damage that's being done to the child's brain is happening at those lead levels. There's a lot of research that's out there looking at educational outcomes, and we share that when we go out into homes, when we do presentations, so people understand that these low levels can be way worse than a high level
Interesting.
in a short period of time. Yeah.
Noelle, you
Yeah.
were about to say something about that, about the way to cover the or to eliminate some of that lead.
Nadia covered it. That's exactly right. Yep, that's what we discussed. So anytime we have, education, a presentation, we sit down with families and we even go specifically the exact foods that you need to be eating, because not everybody might know what
Wow.
has calcium, what has vitamin C. So
Mhm.
we get really detailed because that nutrition is like their medicine.
And I do want to mention as well, talking about nutrition, we do promote our WIC clinics that we have here in town, our federally qualified health centers and so forth that are able to help people living in zip codes where we see a lot of lead poisoning burden. And so we connect them with those resources. We work really closely with our WIC clinics so that those people that are going into those clinics and those families that are being seen have that information and are able to access those foods. Because, we can tell people all the time about, whatever these foods are, but if they don't have the means to purchase them, like eating healthy is a huge burden, especially in food deserts. Like, in North Omaha, we have food deserts. That's a huge thing. And so making sure that people understand these resources are available, where to find them. No More Empty Pots, really great organization that's helping to address those food burdens. That definitely is something that we promote when we go into homes.
I'm curious, what are some of the biggest gaps that you're seeing in this process? It sounds like, again, there's many resources, there's many checkpoints and opportunities for testing. Is it just awareness and getting the word out there to the public so they take advantage of the resources? Are there resources that you feel like the people need and don't have access to? What are the gaps that you're seeing?
I think the biggest gap is fixing the issues, the money required to fix the housing. It's a lot of money. You have to have specialized licensing to address that. And so you have to have a RRP license, which is the Repair, Renovate, Paint certification that the EPA requires for that, or you have to have a lead inspector license to be able to do work to renovate the home. And so it can be quite costly to hire contractors who are licensed to deal with this and do the work properly to avoid further exposure. That is one of the biggest gaps within our community, is addressing the housing safely. For instance, in 68111, which is in North Omaha, we see a lot of health issues. There are a lot of socioeconomic factors affecting health within that neighborhood, but that's where we see the most cases that we deal with. Most of them come from 68111, where we have a higher population that are renters, that are not homeowners, that can't do the work themselves, that are dependent on a landlord fixing it. And so we're trying to address that. We're planning to introduce an ordinance here in Omaha where it will require that rental properties be inspected for lead-based paint issues and hazards, and for those to be addressed and kept up with on an annual basis or biannual basis. Because we can talk about this a lot, amongst ourselves, but if we don't have the right policies in place, we don't have the right funding sources in place, then the education is one thing, but if you don't have the tools to address it, then that's quite another thing.
Exactly. And that's exactly my feelings about the whole identity prep situation, is, meeting these issues at the policy level, which is quite interesting. And that was kind of one of the things that came out of our conversation with Chris Bowling as well, just the bureaucracy and, dealing with the EPA and how they change the levels and just how the ball kind of moves. I'm curious, does that impact your job? Are you seeing that direct impact at all, as far as bureaucracy or just dealing with an institution large like the EPA?
I think the EPA has, our regional EPA has done a lot of work to address this. They fund our program. They have provided quite a lot of resources. When we provide the data to them, they're like, okay, this is, and we say, this is what we want to do. They're like, okay, the data does say this, let us do this. A lot
Okay.
though of the guidance for standards that comes from the federal level. And that's a lot of politics who is in charge at the time is responsible for setting those standards. And so I think with raising awareness about this issue and empowering our communities to understand what these standards mean, then it can empower them to say, hey, I have this. So when they're going out talking to their community leaders, they can say, I'm concerned about this. What are we doing about this to push the conversation further in the policy direction?
Man, I appreciate that. Man, well, Paul, I don't know if you have any questions.
Yeah.
If the chat is going off.
Yeah, before we get to that, I wanted to on that subject there just mention that that when we talk to the city, for instance, they talk about the money that has come in. It's been millions of dollars that have come in, and they have the money to go, and when they find a yard that needs to be remediated, they'll spend that money to remediate the yard, which means that they'll remove topsoil, they'll do all this construction work, they'll bring in dirt, they'll replant the grass, they'll do all these things in order to fix that. Does that money come, where does that money come from, and is it the same bucket that you guys get your money from, and could you guys implement repainting a house or money to be able to fix some of the construction stuff? If there's that much money out there and there's still money there for this, is there a way that your department can access that money to do bigger construction projects, like you're saying that there's a gap in right now?
So the Superfund dollars, since we are a Superfund site, that is money that came from suing ASARCO, which was responsible for the pollution, and that was put into a pot that funds our program and the city's remediation program. Now that is completely different from HUD money. So HUD money goes to fixing housing, and the city does have HUD funding as well to fix housing, but it's a limited amount. So the conversation we should be having locally is how can we tap into local philanthropic dollars, because there's so many strings and things attached to the federal money compared to what's attached to the local money. And so if we can engage with those people who do have funds available to donate to this issue, we can create a foundation to address it. And so for the health department, we are concerned with the health of everyone and so forth. We do not do fixing of the housing. That's more of the city's program, where they fix, they see something that needs to be fixed, they have funds to do that. And so we need more funds, yes. We need more engagement at the nonprofit level for like some, a nonprofit to be created where they can address housing within our community. And there's more of a community buy-in that way. And people may feel a little easier or less, they don't feel like there's many strings when it comes from the government if it's coming from a local entity. More comfortable, accessing those dollars if it's something that's local from our community that's engaged with doing that. And so I think that's where we need to be going, is we need to be tapping into those philanthropic dollars that we have here. Omaha is home to quite a lot of people with a lot of money. And we need to be engaging with them to fix that, because at the health department, we're concerned more with the health, with primary prevention, with education. But the fixing of the hazards, that's something that the city has taken on. But there is definitely, we need more money available to do so.
And Noelle, you said earlier when you were talking about that situation with the person that had the 4044 lead in their system, that before you could release them back to their environment, you had to go back and figure out how to fix that environment. So is that a case where you guys were able to fix an environment, or did you have to connect with HUD in order to get some money to do it, or like how did that end up happening where you guys fixed the environment for that person to go back to?
Yeah, so usually what our role is inspecting the home. So we're inspecting for lead-based paint and lead-based paint hazards or any other lead hazards in a home. So what we do is we're connecting with whether it's a homeowner situation or a landlord-tenant situation. So let's say it's a landlord-tenant. We're connecting with that landlord immediately that they need to come in and fix these hazards. And Nadia might have a little bit more to add about it, but that they have to come in, whether it's the repainting, the cleaning up of dust and things like that. So we're kind of basically creating the reports, creating here's the list of what we found, and this is what needs to be fixed, and especially by a landlord in that situation.
Yeah.
Is there any?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to throw in. Is there any repercussions or anything if a landowner doesn't do anything about it? Like, are they required or is it a suggestion?
They're required to do it. We have
Okay.
a local ordinance here that went into effect, I think in 2010 or 2012, where if lead hazards are identified in a property, it's the owner's responsibility to address that. And so we give them 30 days to address it. When the enforcement part is where it comes into play, because currently with our EPA dollars, we do not have funding to do enforcement. Now, city code, they have funding, but then they don't have the people who are certified to do it. So the process can be fixed. It needs to be addressed in terms of the enforcement side of it.
Wow.
That is a big issue, is the enforcement side. So for instance, when a child does have a very high lead level, we work with the property owner. We say, you need to fix this. A child cannot be released back into the house from the hospital until that hazard has been addressed.
Wow.
And in the chelation cases that we've had in the last 3 years, we had about 3 chelation cases. And the landlords did fix those hazards in a timely manner. They understood that this needed to be done. They understood that they were in violation. And the thing is, we do have property owners who are landlords who will address it and take this thing, seriously. But then we have those that have been around for a long time, and they're like, no, I'd rather pay a fine than the $500 fine than to fix the housing.
Jeez.
And
That's crazy.
So enforcement is definitely something that needs to be worked on, and we're hoping that we can work on that with the ordinance that we will be proposing this fall, where enforcement is ironed out. We've thought through it. We know who's responsible for doing it, because we have all the reports, we have all the findings. We just need someone to go and find the landlords who are in violation of this. And we do have some of them that own quite a lot of properties that are aware of the issue and are taking advantage of the system.
And a lot of them are out of town people too. They're not even.
Yes, those are coming up, buying up properties that are out of town. Yep. You're right.
Man, that is quite the scenario. Again, all the mechanisms are in place to do the testing, to do the identification, to do the reporting, and it all the way up until, okay, everybody's been notified, everybody knows what's going on, up into the enforcement of actually rubber meeting the road. That's a huge gap. That's a huge gap, and I'm definitely happy that there's ordinance and plans to address that gap. Man, that's crazy.
It is. We appreciate you guys. It's 9:16 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. And if you're just joining us, we're here with Naudia McCracken and Noele Smith from the Douglas County Health Department. They've joined us once before. They're back to give us some updates on some of the work that has been done, what they've been doing, and also to answer some of the questions, on the heels of the Chris Bowling Flatwater Free Press article that brought so much attention to this subject again, and to hear more and learn more and find out more is really interesting. So I appreciate that you guys are here still doing the work, years in on doing the work and all that good stuff. I see some folks in the chat that are going off. Tony Johnson says that ordinance is a great step. Heather Williams says landlords won't do the work for us, and ordinance will make them do it. For the ones that don't. Yeah. Anthony Rogers Wright is talking about MOPOA again, MOPOA, and how they have been a entity that's been fighting back on tenants' rights, which might be a problem there. Heather Williams says, "Wow, they shouldn't have a choice and should be forced to comply with to fix the housing." I'm very interested in hearing about next time you guys come on to talk a little bit about what enforcement actually looks like from your office, and that'd be interesting too. So I appreciate everybody who is jumping in. I'm not going to get to some of these other comments because I think they're beyond the scope. We'll talk to some other people from that office on some of those things. I'm not sure if you guys are aware or a part of the health department's plan to replace defunct purple air quality monitors. You guys know much about the air quality monitors at all?
That would be our air quality section. That would be, I know they've been part of the conversation. Our director has been to those meetings, and so they would have more information about that.
Sure, we'll
There
bring
you go.
somebody from that office on to talk to the people here. So appreciate that very much. Before we get out of here, buddy, is there anything else that we're leaving out with the ladies before they go?
Yeah, I did have one last question. This is my mind is going as far as economic development, always looking for resources and opportunities, to seize in our community. And if I'm hearing you right, it sounds like there could be if there's let me how do I phrase it? I phrase it like this. If there's anyone in the community that's interested in getting into contracting work and getting into helping, remediate and um clean up some of these properties, does Douglas County Health have any resources as far as some of that licensure that they need to qualify for these projects and these jobs?
Yeah, we can definitely provide technical assistance and guide people in the right direction. The state's responsible for the licensing. So we all go
Okay.
through licensing to have our credentials with the state. And so we can definitely give people that resource, put them in the right direction, connect them with the EPA people as well, and make sure that that assistance is available. That's what part of the work that we do. And we're happy to do it and connect people to
Beautiful.
those resources.
So again, just thank you for that. Just wanted to, before we get out of here, point out an opportunity in the community that we could be missing. Again, if you out there looking for a job or thinking about what to do, you can take it upon yourself. Again, go through the proper. There's contracting classes out there. Get your contracting licensure. Get that bag, and also help the community with some of this lead poisoning. So I appreciate you for that. And yeah, that was it for me.
There's money in it too. I used to do it. So I used to work for a paint crew. Every once in a while, we had to go put that hazmat suit on and go scrape that lead off them window sills and repaint.
I'm saying,
And those jobs are twice as much as all the other jobs. There's a bag here for it, for real.
get that bag, y'all. I'm trying to help y'all out.
Kathy Rogers Rice says, in and in are amazing public service. Love when they come on the program and bring the facts. Appreciate you. Yes,
Thank you.
Naudia and Noele, the dynamic duo, we call y'all. So we appreciate you guys coming on in. And thank you so much for joining us and visiting us again. We hope to do it again soon. And you guys contact us anytime too when you got any new information coming out that you think
Yes.
needs to know about.
Especially on that ordinance.
Yeah, especially on the ordinance.
We will definitely do that.
Send us an email. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys.
All right, have a good
Appreciate it. You
Thanks.
too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I agree with you. Anthony Rogers, right? Always a pleasure when they're on as well. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back in and get back to the Buddy Blast, get back to the rest of this conversation. We definitely need to get to this situation that's happening in the prison right now with this water situation. We'll get back to that as well. So stay tuned. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the God. We'll be right back, y'all.
Hey.
The rules that Douglas play. We have to show them by our actions that we do not intend to play the rules that the Jews play. They're a bunch of megalomaniac warmongers.
Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. All B, Buddy the God, and all of you, Chad Chambers, Ghost listeners, radio. No, not radio, but
I don't know. Maybe.
coming soon, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Got some things in the works. We will definitely hope that you stay tuned to us so that we can show you about where all these partnerships are going with. This is teamwork makes the dream work. We're building out the team this season at the same time, talking about how teamwork makes the dream work. Don't forget about the lanes of change. This is kind of a lot of our philosophy is based on if these 7 lanes can get filled and people can work together side by side, then you're plowing through an area. You're plowing through making some change. And our lane is strategic communication. Is what we're trying to do here in order to really kind of make sure that we're all informed and can get on the same page. And the best of us, the most intelligent of us, the ones that are most informed can contribute to the conversation to help all of us learn. And you can also watch us go through the process as we learn, so we can figure out how to learn together and how to also respect each other's points of view, even while disagreeing sometimes, and all
Yeah.
the things. Yeah, this is what kind of this show is really geared towards us being able to do that and show that and educate. Also, I wanted to put out there too, lots of new things are happening with our expanding our journalism. And so, if you are a journalist or you are a person that wants to be a citizen journalist, we got some things coming up. I just looked at the calendar, and we know that we're going to have some fall content creator classes coming up that we need to get planned and get going on. And so we're going to put the word out early that those are, we're looking for young folks, of course, but we're looking for all folks that want to do some storytelling and,
Man.
and let their voice be heard and speak about things that they know, and also become trusted sources in the neighborhood in order for you to be able to do the thing that we're trying to do here, which is intentionally spread some information and have some conversation with the community to get on the same page, live alive with one another, and be able to understand where we're coming from in order to get together and make some change. So if that's something that you're into and you want to get down, let us know. We're building all kinds of partnerships and connections with people for you to go get your journalism degree, to work at certain news desks. We're building our news desks out so you can come work with us. We're raising funds in order to be able to pay journalists. So hit us up, firstskyOmaha@gmail.com if you're interested in any of that. We're starting to have some directions that we can send you, and we're also building our own team when it comes to this as well. So you kind of know where we're coming from, our reporting style, the things that we're talking about, and if this is something that you feel like you would be able to fit in and be a part of, let's do it. Keith Station earlier said he wanted to be a third host.
Man, hey.
And it's interesting when he said that. I thought, then that's a brother who he might be able to do that. Just that,
man.
Maybe I can take a day off and let y'all go for it.
Man,
Keep stationing Buddy to God for a while Paul B takes a nap. We'll see. We'll see how it works. We appreciate everybody joining us again. 9:26. If you believe in the concept of time, yes, we're doing 3 hours on this Monday, and definitely got a lot more to talk about. 1, 2, 3. It's the magic number going down. Yep. We appreciate everybody that's coming through, and we definitely got to get to a few more things before we start breaking too loose. Definitely got to talk about this situation with the jail. I don't know if that's what you had up. I don't mean to jump you on something if you had something else up. Go ahead.
I already did it. You already did it.
We can come back on. This is live, baby. We can go backwards.
No, it's all good. You brought it up, man. We definitely have to talk about it. And really, it's all in line with the conversation. Talk about this bureaucracy dealing with the system as it is, and that's the reality. Even whether it's trying to educate ourselves and dealing with just the system the way it is, or testing ourselves and trying to make sure the environment is safe, or policing ourselves. Of course, that's definitely one conversation that needs to continue, and the justice system in total still needs some examining and some restructuring and some reform. And again, this latest instance is just another reminder of that situation, especially in the context of Black August. Again, big shout out to Anthony Rogers Wright and the organization and the graphic that you've been putting up throughout the show. Again, remembering our incarcerated brothers and sisters who, oftentimes are forgotten, especially those who are political prisoners fighting the good fight, but just prisoners in general. Let's remind us that this is modern day slavery. Again, the amendment says that the slavery is abolished except for those who are convicted of a crime. So let's not forget the reality of what these penitentiaries mean and what they are. And again, some of the realities as far as conditions that our incarcerated brothers and sisters have to deal with. This being reported by WWT coming out of Lincoln. Inmates apparently were switched to water bottles and portable toilets after a water line broke in the Nebraska State Penitentiary. The Nebraska Department of Correctional Services said on Sunday that a pair of water line breaks had affected a significant portion of the penitentiary. The first water line break occurred on Thursday, and then another on Friday. A new leak was found by one of the housing units. Of course, there was a response saying our first step in every process is to ensure the safety and security of our staff and population. Initially, 20,000 water bottles were delivered to NSP, and additional water deliveries have since been made. Portable toilets were brought in on Thursday. And again, this is quite interesting. I do wonder, is there like puddles? Like, how bad is this water main break? Is there flooding going on in this situation? And just reminding us of how just pressurized, just waiting to bust at the seams, is our prison system in Nebraska. And as we're talking about this situation, I'm reminded of the storm. If you remember, there was major damage done to one of the, I'm not sure if it was NSP or another facility, but months ago there was a severe storm that happened that caused inmates to be moved around and facilities to be closed, and more people to be piled on top of each other in a system that has already been deemed federally overcrowded, and not much has been done to alleviate that pressure. So again, hearts, minds definitely going out to our incarcerated brothers and sisters. A lot more conversation to be had about not just that, but just the criminal justice system in general. But big shout out to White Paul Philman for sharing this with us and keeping us on top of that whole situation. Just keeping a voice for those brothers and sisters.
As a matter of fact, Paul Philman sent over some audio from a call from an inmate as well. I'd like to play that for you so you can kind of get a sense of what's going on over there. And we're going to go ahead and play this. Paul sent it over. I trust that Paul has already cleared this with the people involved. And also there's some language in here too, so be mindful of that. But let's take a quick listen and see what is going on from the inside. I'm not gonna tell you who this is. Save their name for for the backlash that might happen from telling the business, like it kind of does sometimes there. But let's take a quick listen.
And if they would come back here and talk to the inmates, then they'll see, man, we have to sit back here for days in our living conditions. It smelled like a porta potty. They just cleaned it up just like, I want to say about an hour ago. And then the way that they give us 4 bottles of water. And out of the 4 bottles of water, we're supposed to use that to brush our teeth. Now they say that we can't even clean ourselves with our water bottle because we're going to get arrested for unused or unauthorized rations or whatever. This is messed up. Like, they have us living, like, if the Humane Society came in and a person and a dog was living in their own feces, what would they do? Wouldn't they take the dog from them and find the owner? Okay, so what makes us any different just because we felons? Like, this is wrong. It's all the way wrong. I swear, the way that they got us living, the way that they got us, like, and then the guards, okay, we have porta potties, but it's like 5 porta potties per 200 people. Like, come on, that's not even OSHA standards. Like, it's crazy. And if they flew helicopters over here, they look in the back, they see how many water bottles we got. Like, we can't take showers. We can't, like, dude, this is unheard of. This is inhumane. Like, they treating us just because they can, and then when probably when they do get people on their butts, they probably keep them up front, but they ain't gonna bring them out back. They ain't gonna let the Newswatch 7 or anybody else talk to the inmates. They're gonna talk to them. They're gonna be like, oh no, they're inmates. They're gonna no, y'all got us living like worse than animals. Like, this is wrong. It's wrong. It's all the way wrong. And it's been going on since Thursday. Like, they fixed it. Well, they didn't fix it. They had running water for 20 minutes, and then boom. Like, this is wrong. It's all the way wrong. Like, if they knew their water was busted, they were supposed to have people out here working 24/7 until they fixed it. Like, it's really messed up. Like,
and we ain't had showers in almost a week. We've had no laundry for about the same time. We got people out here in porta potties that are not even level, so that's not safe at all. The trash is stacked up all the way fucking on top of the trash cans. There's shit and toilet paper coming up out of the floor drains in the kitchen where they prepare our food.
Oh, I forgot to even say anything about that nasty.
Yeah, I mean, we're living like animals in here.
We definitely is. And that just ain't me. Like, I could literally go down my whole bay, and you will hear the.
You have 1 minute remaining.
You will hear the same thing from everybody in here. Like you hear this rage back here. People are mad. Like, we can't do nothing about it because if we
Oh
do,
yeah,
what we get punished for it.
somebody that's in there that's back there with you. I don't know the person's name, but their wife or baby mama or whatever just comment talking about y'all close of doing a riot because at this point it's survival.
Like it's wrong. And then like the guards in the bubble, we have porta potties. The guards, it's up to the guards to let us out. Man, they look at us like we're not letting you out. Wait till count clear. Like some of us are old people. We have old people in here who like let their bowels rip and they ain't got no choice. They're old. And then some people like myself, okay, I have kidney problems. It's people in here who have bladder problems, and they look like they have an attitude when you ask them to do something. Like this is your job. You are supposed to keep the people calm. You're starting to outrage. You just look at us like,
Thank you for using GTL.
The fact that the brothers didn't even get to finish. System just cut them off.
First-hand information there. First-hand information, most definitely on what's going on inside there. How it feels to have to live by a water bottle because of the situation there. The porta potty situation, I'm sure, is horrendous. And so those are some of the conditions that are going on inside. Again, they like the brother said, they're not going to necessarily bring the news out to speak to the inmates to find out the conditions exactly. This is where activists and people like White Paul who goes in and pays attention to these things and goes in to talk can get some information. Those of us that have family members that are in can take calls and understand what's happening. And this is sometimes in these situations how we got to get the information out here. But the situation is pretty dire. It's been going on since Thursday, and there was an article that was posted, but it wasn't the brother speaking on this issue gave us way more information than the article did in a big way. If you have any other information on that, let us know. If you talk to anybody or have any friends or family members that are in these situations, and if you have any ideas on who to call and who to go through to get this fixed. The big wigs at where the people who's responsible, who can we let's get to the solution. Who do you call to fix these things? I mean, I can't imagine they're not in there trying to work on it, but how fast, how many resources are going towards getting it done quickly? Can the guards work better? Can there be more porta potties there? Can they alleviate the charge of using water bottles in the wrong way so that people can use them to take a shower if they have to or whatever? Lots of questions comes from that brother's testimony.
Yeah, that's just heart gut wrenching. Just to hear brothers, people in general have to live with that, have to live like that, have to deal with that. And I have only pushback I have against what the brothers had to say is he said this is unheard of, and unfortunately, it's not unheard of.
Right.
Unfortunately, this is the reality for most inmates in this country. There's a lot of work to do in this country. And you're just feeling like, the bureaucracy. It's a lot to overcome, but man, there's a lot of just perspective and reckoning and the way we look at and view things in this country is just wrong. All the way wrong. All the way wrong.
I got me thinking about when you learn about business, first thing they say is find a problem to solve for your community. And that sounds like a great advice until you realize that we didn't got to the point now in this capitalist society where they will create problems to solve for business purposes. If there's actual problems out there, then where everybody's already primed to try to make a dollar from it, this country is the office. We get up and get dressed and go to work in this country. This country ain't for living. It's to go to work. It's to make some money, find a problem, figure out how you can capitalize on that by having somebody suffer so you can make more money, so you can do more, so you can pack more people in, so the whole nine. Saw a video yesterday about the strike 3 stuff that went down back in the Clinton days, And people that people that I know personally that are still in jail for life over their third strike.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed some of the pictures from that. They started collecting so many people, so many youth. The gymnasiums and the places that were in the jails and the prisons were just bunk bed after bunk bed after bunk bed. It looked like barracks. And filled up gymnasiums and all these other places full of people sitting there sleeping on top of each other, filling the jails up. And and because of the way, this is an ongoing, I'm about to get on my soapbox now.
Man.
Let me get the big window. So there's what we are always trying to battle to do is to help people find dignity.
Man.
In all kinds of ways. There's if you look at people as if they're less than human and they're animals, this is where all the trouble starts. This is the reason why you can leave homeless people homeless. This is the reason why you can throw people under the jail. This is the reason why you can let conditions happen in prison that you wouldn't let happen to animals. This is the reason why sometimes people of color, especially black folks, got a problem with animals. People always are tripping with me on that. I'm not a person, I'm not a dog lover. Everybody knows that about me. It's been a detriment to my whole life because everybody around me loves dogs all the time, and I'm always the villain that don't like dogs. It's not that I don't like dogs. I don't like how people treat dogs. And I don't like how people treat dogs in this country because they treat dogs better than they treat black people.
Man.
And so this less than human situation comes back to all of it. How do you allow a smelting plant to lay lead all over the place? How do you do the barest minimum and make people jump through 100 hoops just to get the lead out so that your kid doesn't got lead in their blood? How is it that every time there's a problem, the solution has to do with how it is you're going to, the solution means that it's a business opportunity. It's even war is a business opportunity. The death of people, the insurance companies, the funeral homes, everything is a business. You can't even die without having to pay a bill. So even down to this show and how we try to make the style of this show where we give people dignity enough to be able to listen to what they have to say and not call them names and not go through a whole bunch of disrespectful mess, because to me it's a slippery slope. As soon as you start calling people names and treating them like they're something less than a human being that makes mistakes and that has the full range of a human being, it opens up to your ability to act a certain way with them.
Mm-hmm.
And look at how this is. We always talk about like the powers that be and the majority culture that wants to treat everybody else like they're second class citizens and less than human. They treat each other that way too, though. They treat each other that way too. Everybody's a dollar bill. Everybody's a way to get paid. You leave somebody destitute. I was thinking about if you guys are fans of the Sopranos show. The Sopranos, there's an episode where one of Tony's friends gets in over his head, and he don't think that Tony gonna do nothing to him. Hey, this is a business. We were friends, but you knew that you had a gambling problem. Why did you place the bet with me? You know what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm gonna be. I'm always gonna be the one that stings you, even though we both gonna drown. So, and if that ain't the mentality of this whole country, if that ain't the mentality of the current administration, I don't know. Everybody is less than human. Everybody, this dignity thing is ridiculous. And every time I think about anything that's happening, like what's going on with this water situation in the prisons, first of all, the dignity of the prisons. Have you ever looked at prisons in other countries? Have you ever saw how the prisons are in other countries? There's other countries that have prisons that are more like apartment complexes and people that can pretty much walk out if they wanted to. If they still understand that there's like human rights, you still got to eat, you still got to get medical attention. It's not how these are designed. These prisons are designed for punishment. They're designed to put people who they think are less than people in a place. So for me, that's what it boils down to from beginning to end, from how you speak to somebody in the first place, how we engage with each other, all the way to treating people like they're less than animals in situations to save a dollar. Every time we come to solutions and every time we come to like, what are we doing for each other and live alive with one another, and all these philosophies have to do with us treating each other with some dignity, treating each other like you're a human, I'm a human. And how can we live together that way? And when you form teams and you try to get to the dreams, you got people on your team that you don't feel like is less than human. Like how and I'm not even saying that that's a absolute thing. Like, how do you stop yourself from thinking that somebody else is less than human?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's easy to do. It's easy to do. I know several people that are just like, that person just needs to die. And it's easy to feel that way. But James Baldwin always talked about that too. Like, how is white people suffering for the lack of humanity? How is they the ones that are really hurting? How they the ones that really got the problem?
Mm-hmm.
The lack of humanity from people is poisoning them worse than it affects the ones who they treating a certain way.
Man,
it can poison us.
It's a profound statement, and I'm hearing more and more. For me to, in this last 45 minutes of the show or 15 minutes of the show, as we usually do, coming to this point, for me the course of action is twofold. Specifically, one general, one specific. The general is rejecting the premise. There's a lot of power in rejecting the premise that others are less than you, rejecting the premise of even the ideology of, or the term of, white superiority. A lot of people are recognizing and, deeming it for what it is. It really is an inferiority complex. Like any group of people, anybody that goes around and constantly trying to put other people under them, tells you a lot about how they view themselves.
Right.
So there's that, reject the premise that identity prep is somehow anti-American because they have an abolitionist framework and a liberatory practice. Like, reject that premise. Reject the premise that, because a couple of dollars was put into remediation and they're still led, that is just automatically safe. Ask the questions. Reject the premise. Think for yourselves. That's the first general term of action that we all can do right now and practice in the foreseeable future. Now, the second course of action directly with this prison situation is apply pressure. Because you're rejecting the premise, because you're thinking for yourself, because you recognize that you actually do have a voice, rejecting the premise that you don't, that you're rejecting the premise that you're powerless. Exercise that voice. Call your elected officials. Apply pressure, because this is ridiculous. What I just heard from them brothers on that phone was heartbreaking. And, I'm more so focused on keeping myself relaxed right now because it's infuriating. You know what I mean? To hear people having to deal with that. And, to remind myself that I could have easily been one of those people. Easily.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Brother Paul Philman for elevating that situation, sharing that phone call. We're going to need to blast that out more and more. Yeah. Elevate this. Keep an eye on what's going on with the situation. And, we're going to have to really talk about this season of this overcrowding situation, because that is the reality when you have severe overcrowding in a environment like a prison.
For
Not
real.
to mention, the rioting and the things like, man, yeah, that was heartbreaking. That was hard.
9:48 right now. If you believe in the concept of time and live in Omaha, Nebraska, it's supposed to be 90 degrees today, so get ready for that. Don't forget about the lanes of change. When I'm thinking about these situations, I'm thinking that political power is one of them. We know we got an election coming up, and this is wrong one. This is the premise behind what it is that we're trying to accomplish here. This 6 to dismiss. Shout out to Precious McKesson, who's, by the way, doing politicking with P over there with DJ Mr. Soul 87.9.
Yeah.
Definitely go check that out. But yeah, here's some folks here to look into. I believe the mayor just endorsed Denise Powell for that seat that Don Bacon was occupying. So there's some things coming up there that we need to kind of think about before do the research on. There's organizations out there doing the good work. Shout out to Black in Action Collective. Shout out to Senator Ashley Spivey. Put some respect on her name. Her new organization. Right now, they have paid canvassers that they're going to employ when voter registration begins, and they're $26 an hour. Register Black voters across Nebraska. Flexible part-time hours. Training provided. No experience. Definitely link to Black in Action. They're doing the good work there too. Because as far as we're concerned, one of the things you can do is contact your political leaders and tell them, put some pressure on the prison so that stuff can get happening. The political power is definitely one of the situations there that you have to engage with. If I was to look at some of the other lanes of change, I would say some coalition building. Maybe you already have some people. Maybe you're rubbing elbows with some big wigs already that can make some calls. That always kind of helps because it's who you know. Who's applying the pressure, I think, is another thing as well. As you can tell, because of the fact that we keep on having people from the mayor's office. The mayor is very accessible. You can definitely talk to the mayor. As a matter of fact, he has a hotline. He gives us a report on the hotline, how many people are calling. I'm not seeing prison reform or anything going on with prison on this top report types. I see the weed issue, potholes, and so on. Let's call and see what their relationship to the prisons are, and if there's any pull there, if there's anything that could happen. 402-444-5555. Give them a call and see what's happening. Talk to any of the elected officials that you can reach, and apply pressure to them so they can apply pressure to this situation. It's one thing we can think of there. If anybody else has any other ideas on how to apply pressure on this particular system, let us know. Got some pretty smart people in the chat. I really appreciate that. Tony Johnson says, make sure you do both. Communicate with those you oppose and communicate with those you support. That I CC my people on messages of those I oppose. Okay, right on. RG says, designed to create recidivism and not rehabilitation. That's what these places are.
Much.
In a big way. So yeah, let's keep on trying to think of some solutions, bring them up, shoot them over to the Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page on Facebook, or send them to firstsky.omaha@gmail.com. Love to hear any more that we can kind of pass on to the powers that be as well. It'd be interesting to hear about what's going on. I believe the superintendent of the jails is also, I can't think of his name right now, but he's also somebody who may be able to give a call and apply some pressure to.
Yeah, hopefully.
I appreciate this. 9:52 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. And yeah, man, I gotta watch it again just so I can calm myself down.
Get it! Get it, Mom! Get it!
Man, that's what it's about. So it's about coming together, making sure the community is safe, free, educated, well fed, all of that. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Before we get out of here, I do have one last thing to let the people know about. Just a heads up to look out for. I've been in conversation with a friend of mine who's a DJ down in New Orleans, and she's working on a playlist for a effort called NOLA to Angola. Again, in the spirit of this Black August month. NOLA to Angola is an annual bicycle ride fundraiser that goes from the New Orleans Parish Prison in New Orleans to Angola State Prison. Again, the Louisiana State Prison, the infamous Louisiana State Plantation if you ask me.
Mm.
But again, this is a 170-mile 3-day bike ride that they take from those two facilities, and she's actually preparing a playlist for the bike riders to jam to. And again, the playlist is made up of artists who are currently incarcerated, who are behind bars, but they're making music using programs and resources made available to them to have their voices heard. So I was going to share that on Friends of, for anybody interested in checking that out during this Black August. So look out for that this month.
Yeah, I was just looking at that's interesting. I was looking at I'm trying to find some on the website that showed that, and I found this. This is not for this one coming up. This is something that it told me they've been doing this for a minute. They've been doing this for
Yeah.
a while. So this is not the first one, but here's one from 2024 that they did. Nola to Angola, riding these bikes out. That's what's up. I can't wait to learn more about this event here. Let's find the current one and
Yeah.
support.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So a big shout out to those and just everybody, elevating voices and recognizing and remembering our incarcerated brothers and sisters, especially those who are fighting the good fight politically during this Black August, man. That's what it's about. And with that, I think that pretty much does it.
Does it for you. Sounds good, man. Appreciate everybody. Pops Harrison. That's funny. Appreciate everybody that joined us today, and our special guest as well. Shout out to Keith Station. I've been trying to get Keith on the show for a while, man. Glad he
Yeah.
finally came. Finally able to hook it up so we can come through. Love to have him back, and also the dynamic duo. Of course, we were talking about Naudia and Noele. We appreciate them coming through and always bringing the facts and the information as well, and doing the good work, man. Spend some real time
Man.
in a world where we switch jobs about every 2 years. For somebody to be there 11 years and 4 years, pretty awesome, pretty dedicated to the work. So and also the fact that this is still going. The problem is still
That part.
you got read out yet. The problem's still going. So this is definitely something that I'm happy that we got people that can work on these things that have the passion about working on them. So that's what's up. We got a lot more to talk about on Friday, so stay tuned for that. Also, if there's any articles out there, any news out there that you think is relevant, even during the week, that you're ready for us to have a conversation about Friday or even next Monday, then definitely check us out on Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page. Drop that information there. That's the first place we go when we're pulling stories and all those things for us to be able to talk about. And yeah, we really appreciate everybody who's done that so far already. Be looking out for some other things that we're working on releasing during the week coming up in the next few months. And these are some new journalism expansion program things that we're working on too, to expand this journalism and really kind of deep dive into stories and things that are going on with our community, especially. Next Monday, we'll have Brother Kasim on from BAA. We'll dive into some of the stuff that he's got going on there as well.
Man.
Yeah, and also just got a call from Marlon, who's telling us to save this date, August 30th. Save the date for the NOCP Gala. This is getting ready to be gala season. They start theirs early. August 30th is coming up from 3 to 6. Save the date. We'll give you more information on this and give you some information on how to get tickets to go. This is going to be a tribute to Michael Jackson, is what he said on this.
Hey,
one.
okay.
Cool. Yeah. So rhythm
Got
and
the shoot.
roots. Mm-hmm. So yeah, save the date on this, and shout out to Marlon, who's been, like I said, he volunteered yesterday for the Love of Barbecue, and I'm seeing him do more volunteering. He's working with NOCP, so shout out to him for doing some of this community work, working with shout out to RG, working with the youth over there at the Survival Club. We got a lot of folks that are doing some stuff. Shout out to Dr. Darnisha Phillips as well. If you're hearing this, we will do our best to help you fight for what you're working on. We appreciate you and hang in there.
Man. Tomorrow, y'all pull up.
Tomorrow, y'all pull up. This is the notice right here. It's August 11th.
Yep.
Tuesday, August 11th, the board will hear a public comment about the status of the school identity prep that was not approved at the last SBOE meeting held on Friday, August 7th. The SBOE members will be given consideration to the approval of identity prep for a second time. So this is, definitely check this out. Hit the State Board of Education. Let them know what's happening. And what Brother Station said to the city council, if you can't make it, then, go ahead and send an email with your testimony. And if you can't do that, at least check it out. If you can't go, then it's on. Then you can watch it on the public access channel as well. So there's a lot of ways that we can be involved. Let's keep on working on ways to be involved. Let's do it. Let's keep doing it. RG says, yeah, Urban Survival Club is going to make an appearance at that gala. That's what's up.
Nice.
We'll check in on Monday, man. We'd love to hear about more about what you guys are doing over there. Maybe even have you on, RG, so you can tell us about working with the kids, all that good stuff. Appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get out of here, buddy. You got some words for the people?
Yeah, big shout out to our guest, of course, Brother Keith Station. I guess the honorary third host, First Guy Omaha in the morning. There you go. Also, big shout out to the dynamic duo, Naudia and Noele, for taking the time to speak with us. Again, I'm serious about that, man. Anybody looking to take a career pivot or, looking to find a way to get to the bag, there's an opportunity there. Again, there's a shortage of licensure contractors to be able to help, do some of this repainting, do some of this soil remediation. Hey, there's an opportunity there. So let's get into it. And in the meantime, between time, catch the same time, same place, Monday and Friday, right here on First Guy Omaha, in the morning, in the evening, depending on when you catch us. Just make sure you catch us. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away, man.
Marlon Harrison says, hopefully the next time you guys see me, my voice will be back to normal.
Yeah.
Marlon, you got a bullhorn so that you don't blow your voice out. That's what it's for. So you can be louder without shouting. Hope you feel better. Pop says, thanks for a great Monday. The guests were outstanding as always. You two are stellar hosts and moderators. Thanks, Pops. Says, have a great week and see you on Friday evening. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to the Umayyad tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before you. And shout out to you, chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your grace. Thanks for you being respectful to the guests. Thanks for your well thought out questions and comments and all the things. So we really appreciate that very much. Do us a favor, share the show, especially if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, share the show on your page. And if you're on YouTube, share the link. If you miss any parts of the interviews in the show, you can go back and check it out on YouTube after the live is over. And we will catch you on Friday at 4 p.m., 4 to 6. Don't forget about that. Just like Heather Williams is saying, please have a great week, everyone. Set your intentions and really take care of yourselves. It's going to be hot. But hey, let's get out here and live alive with one another and do good work. With that, we'll see you on Friday. Take care of yourselves. Peace. Drink your water.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the Red